As always, Front Mission Day is free discussion day. There's not a lot in-game to talk about turn by turn, so if there's anything in the news, in video games, nerd culture, philosophy that you want to talk about, don't worry about being off topic. You cannot be off topic when you play this game. Off stream, I played this for about an hour, did some grinding in the arena, caught everybody up to level 24, which is the level when we stop getting XP from arena battles. Have not upgraded anyone's pilot skills further, unfortunately. It's just been really unlucky. Remember, the way the skills work in this game, after you unlock a skill, it has a random chance to upgrade from level 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3, and then 3 to 4 is never going to happen. I don't think we're ever going to see a skill at level 4, which is fine. Level 4 is OP, level 3 is balanced. So I still want to get Guide level 3 for Lloyd, Dual level 3 for Lloyd, and I think I have one other character that still needs Guide level 3. But let's go ahead and get started. We gotta go back to another area here. It may have actually been the green thing. Pop back out real quick. Turning a lot of paper towels, right? Wrong coast doesn't affect the stream. It's the last really bad hurricane we had, Maria, in the US. Tango sighted. Just like the journalist said. What? The journalist is Frederick. He's supposed to be on my side. I can change the order of party members. Oh wow, I'm actually being able to bring significantly more characters in my party than I thought I would. Huh. Alright, well, that's fine. Because I have to go back to trying to level everybody up. Quest 64. Yeah, very, very, very grindy. I like the hidden elements in the game world in that game. It's the most interesting part of it for me. I haven't played it in a really long time, though. Donkey? Okay. Clearly I need to upgrade Mayhwa's brother. Hey, Ludifex, how's it going? Hey. Shaping up to be a combination of the worst things of a lot of recent storms, really. Could probably ask here. The game is cryptic enough, and we're all good enough from playing it to be cryptic in our replies. People who haven't played it will know what the hell we're talking about. I would like to finish La Milana 2, trying to find time for it. Turns out stuff's been really busy lately. Worst case scenario, we'll play it when Andrea goes to Germany for a science conference the first week of October. But if we can get to it before that, I think I only need one more session to wrap it. Heavy snow and freezing temperatures are pretty much the worst things nature throws our way. Yeah, in Los Alamos, I think our biggest problem is wildfires. I guess technically there's a giant supervolcano, but if that thing goes off, the Earth has bigger problems than just living here. Should figure out what stats he's good at. Andrea does not speak any German, but English is like the international language of science, so she should be okay. Snow, ice, flooding, and tornadoes. Used to have tornadoes when I grew up in Illinois, and later Ohio. but nothing particularly terrifying. Oh, are you looking to make it to Michigan, Akeem? Oh, right. If the super volcano goes off. Right. If you can make it there, you should be okay. Gotcha. Formation chaos. Do you have all the seals loot effects? 1, 2, 3, and 4. I need to be further away. Slow death of starvation after that. No problem. I know, right, Guy Mom? Disaster deaths are worth being prepared for. Ooh, that's right, that was Meihua. I should have sent her over to melee that guy. Whoops. It's okay, we'll get back to good vibes. Just glad I don't live somewhere that has any risk of flooding. 7,000 feet. The water is not pooling near our house. Not only does flooding suck in a lot of different ways, but it massively increases the cost of homeownership. Flood insurance is very expensive. I think flooding is my least favorite disaster. It's not dramatic enough, you know. Fire's pretty dramatic and exciting. Having your house torn from its foundations and flung into the air is pretty exciting. But just everything getting soggy and gross and moldy and disgusting. Just as disruptive, but it's not fun. And if I'm gonna die horribly, I'd like it to be fun. All of Los Alamos is a pretty steep hill. Rather drown than burn alive. Yeah. I guess I could see that. Burning alive seems like a pretty not so great experience. Drowning's pretty scary though, I don't know. Let's get as close up here as I can. Yeah, instant incineration. Burning to death slowly, like being burnt at the stake or something. That'd be pretty shitty. Ow. Double ow. Broke my arm. In a single shot. Yo, what's grooving, Spiky? What's the Tales of Crestoria? Those wacky folks. And it's a mobile game? Ugh. Ugh. Yuck. It increasingly feels like you can't make a non-scummy mobile game. maybe it can happen. Unless if it's like really, really simple or arcadey or like puzzly, like Tetris or Picross or something like that. Oh no, Spiky, yeah. I don't know how I feel about the random sub-gifting. I mean, I guess that exists, that feature supports a very different scale of broadcaster. Shots out as I can here. I was talking about this earlier, but apparently the sub-gifting also has a problem with all those chatbots that are on everybody's channel, like electrical skateboard, electrical longboard, decaf smurf. If you look in chat, let's see, if I check right now, who all do we have that's a chatbot? Positivity bot's pretty cool, but you can also accidentally gift sub positivity bot. Darkstar is actually just a really sophisticated disaster reporting and Terra/Wildstar complaining bot. They'll be studying him for decades. But that whole like Detroit game about respect for AI. Synth rights. I think you commented about that Darkstar in Discord. You were like, Wildstar's shutting down. And I'm like, oh man, he's gonna be delighted. It sucks for all the people playing it. Like, God. Is Crestoria worse than the average Tails name? I don't think so. Yes. Toothpaste. And then, you don't know. Tales of Colgate Terria. AIM is by far the greatest brand of toothpaste because the brand of toothpaste is irrelevant. And it costs like 99 cents for a tube. Bitter Yahan, hope you feel better, I'm sorry. Send my healing energy your way. Oh shit, Mayhua hasn't died in a long time. That was unfortunate. Unlucky timing. I got an interesting Facebook tiff with Andrea recently. She needs a watch because she works in a classified section of the lab and she's not allowed to have her phone. So the reason most people don't have watches anymore is you basically have a pocket watch. So she needs a non-broadcasting watch. She also can't get something fancy like an Apple Watch or a smartwatch. So she was shopping for it, and the watch that she wanted to buy cost like $150. And I was like, what? That's insane. $150 for a watch? She's like, it's a fashion accessory. You know, she'll spend about that much on nice clothes or nice shoes every now and then, and I've trained my grew up poor frugal self to be able to tolerate that. And the argument then is, can a watch be a fashion accessory? Which I submit, okay, fine. It's not my bag. I'm not really a fashion guy. I wear graphic tees every day. I don't usually bother just to roll off the cat hair from my shirt. And I've been wearing the same pair of Amazon jeans that I've been reordering every 6 months. for about the last 5 years. But I still would argue that $150 watch is a factor of 10 more expensive than a fully functional, fine-looking, waterproof Amazon watch. You know, you can get one of those for like $15 and it'll last you for a decade. Stream fundraiser for interest. Non-communicating. It can't have Bluetooth. Can't send any signal anywhere. Yeah. I've had no need for a watch for a long time because I have a smartphone. Since she can't use a smartphone, she has good reason to want to get a watch. The argument is it, given that she's in a professional work environment, is $150 an appropriate amount to spend on a business watch? I am clearly the wrong person to ask for the aforementioned reasons about lack of style and fashion sense, but also because I wore a bright orange cereal box watch for 10 years. You get used to the weight. Never. Darkstar never really bought a watch because he spent a lot of time near a clock that absorbed its power. Besides, that $100 is a normal, cheap price for a watch. Yeah. Yikes. Well, now, someone actually brought this up in the Facebook fight. They were like, watches are a work of art, and you can make a really nice watch, and it's worthy of respecting a nice watch. And I can understand that. If you went to a craft fair or something, or you met a watchmaker and he's like, I'm going to sell you this watch for $400, it's really fancy, and look at all the crazy working parts and design in it, I can understand that. But the watch Andrew is looking to buy is like a Macy's watch. You know, it's as mass-produced as anything you could find on Amazon. There's not some gentle story of a local watchmaker who secretly eats brains to absorb the superpowers of others. I could totally get that. It's like, once you're deciding to go mass-produce, though, I feel like you should be... I would personally prefer function over fashion. I wouldn't spend a lot. I could see spending, like, you know, an extra 2 times the cost of an Amazon watch to, like, 3 times or 4 times for style. Sailor Dan made the point, hey, you've got your Mass Effect hoodie. You know, you could just go to Walmart and get a $20 hoodie. Clearly you paid a premium for it to be Mass Effect because you like Mass Effect. Which I see his point, but again, I'd argue that's a scale issue. Like, sure, but this hoodie costs about twice what a Walmart hoodie costs. But not 10 times as much, right? Gentle Story custom watch is $1,000. Wow. Or buy a more expensive watch than you need. Yeah. Andrea's getting it for workplace wear. So I can see where she's coming from. You know, she's not going to buy a $10 work jacket, even though she could technically get one. I was the guy that when I worked at Chase, which was not a casual work environment, I bought khaki-colored jeans just to avoid having to wear khakis. I got away with it, too. Yeah. Well, I can kind of see... I have to think about it. It's basically, if it's easy to think something is dumb, you're probably missing something. It took me a long time to learn this, you know, like, growing up I was like, oh, sports are so dumb. Why does anyone care about sports? Wrestling is really dumb. Why would anyone care about that? You know, it's so easy, it flows off the tongue so naturally that you kind of have to stop and be like, is it though? Maybe I'm just missing something. And I think that's what it is with fashion. I think the way I would think about it now is that I personally don't feel invested in fashion. Like, I don't get any joy from looking good. or dressing up or looking nice. But I can get that that's someone's nerd thing that they're into, and it brings them joy in the way that video games bring me joy. Yeah, not practical. No, it's the children that are wrong. Nice watch with a nice suit. Only wear nice watches when you're dressing up, so it's fashion accessories. Got like cufflinks or something like that, that makes sense. Yeah. Recommend people go with what's important and pay for. Don't buy the most expensive thing if you can afford any less expensive items. I don't know. Luxury is something that I have a lot of angst and like dissonance about all the time, and clearly I live a luxurious life compared to what I grew up with. I just went on this fancy trip to PAX convention. You know, I've got all this video game stuff all over the place. There's this computer. I don't need any of these things to exist. And it's really easy to feel that pang of hypocrisy to be like, how dare you spend $500 on a fancy watch, you know, when you could easily say, oh, how dare you spend so much money on your computer or your video games. And I haven't really wrapped my head around how I really feel about it. I just know that, like, something like paying for a first-class flight ticket, I think is I will never cross that boundary line of acceptable luxury, given how expensive that is, you know, and how little joy or comfort you're creating by doing it. You have a boss who collects watches and buys fancy ones like I shop for classic games. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I think that if something is a personal hobby too, I'm more able to absorb it and understand it. Like the person who collects fancy watches, like if I can understand it as a nerd thing, you know, even if it's not something that I identify with, then I can get it a bit. But when it's like, I have to do this, I need to fit in. Yeah, I hear you, sir. Also, lack of something is killing you or causing great discomfort, even if it's something you want. Procrastinate months or years before getting it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I can sit and justify me having 2 PCs for streaming all day, just because like OBS alone is using 80% of my CPU and about 20% of my GPU, and I was like observing stream quality degradation as a result of it. It was really driving me nuts in Celeste, which should not have been having frame skips. But like I'm a very, very unusual corner case scenario in that case, right? Some very, very nice watches increase in value if they're taken care of properly. That makes sense, yeah. And Andrea kind of got me around to her side a little bit when she was talking about, you know, why would you spend $60 on a video game when, you know, the cost of the production of the cart is in the range of pennies, and I can be like, oh, well, you know, I'm paying for all of the people that went into making it and their salaries, and that doesn't have to do with the actual, you know, physical cost of the good. Oh, I see what your point is now about fashion. Alright, so there is new stuff at the shop, so I'm going to have to somewhat focus on that. See if there's a new shield. I'll get into setup, try to buy one set of it. Mechanical watches, there's a lot of precision going on. Yeah, I don't think that there's a right or a wrong to it. Hard Assault G, it's short range. Compared to, what is Cemetery 10? 4 shots. Okay. Black Star is strictly better. Wasteland. 4 times 15. 4 times 19. Okay.
Thank you.
Black Star. Currently using Type 702 as our long-range shot. That's 64 damage. 74 damage. That looks like it's just better. Weighs more. But I think we're fine on weight.
Thank you.
Okay. Black Star, Thunderbolts. How about shields? No new shields. Wait, maybe there is. Weighs more though. Oh, several new shields. That's crazy. And defense, 15 defense. Huh, I haven't had a shield upgrade in a really long time, and now the game is suddenly giving me, like, several options all at once. So can I afford the weight difference?
Thank you.
I think I can. Okay. Oh, I didn't know that, Serp. Interesting. Good luck with your painkillers, Yahan. I hope you feel better. Sorry to pull you back in with the watch discussion. Difference between an increase in utility versus increase in labor on the Koa side. How much does a professional restaurant grade coffee maker cost? Is it just because it's complicated? Right, 3 times 24, 3 times 30. Has 3 ammo. Slightly less range. 3 ammo. Same range. Weighs more. 3 times 32. Weighs significantly more.
Thank you.
Alright. Well, we've got a full new weapon setup. Let me write this down because I have to buy a bunch of these and equip them on everyone. So it's Black Star, Thunderbolt, WS-14B, Crane. And let me quickly back out and see if there's a new melee weapon. She's currently using the F4 hand rod. 4 hand rod. No, doesn't look like it. I'll make real quick, just make 100% sure about that. I think it would be called an F5. I think they've all been called F whatever. Alright. Yeah, we have, in the US, Yukupo, there was a career center that was adjacent to our high school. Actually, my sister Robin went there. Since it was right next to the high school, she did some high school classes, but most of her high school work she did at a career center to learn cosmetology. And they also had a bunch of other little trades in there, like landscaping, plumbing, HVAC, that sort of thing. I want to say she started that around 14. It would have been her freshman year, so 14, 15. Alright, my current body piece is called Zeroa. And to remind myself, hey, thank you, Six Gun.
You're super awesome.
Thanks, appreciate that. Berzia seems like it's a flat upgrade. More power, more defense, less weight.
Thank you.
Okay. Young pastry chef. Alright, I currently have Prismaire equipped, and that's... Oh, alright, we want... Accuracy is above everything else in this game, so anything that includes an accuracy penalty is unacceptable. And that's everything that's new. Well, that makes things easy. Legs. Movement is really important. We were using treads for a while and couldn't climb up more than like 0.5 elevation, and it made one of our missions really, really awful. So, currently has pious legs. Actually, I think that those are the most recent legs. Okay. CPO is Verso. Proximo is a flat upgrade.
Thank you.
Okay. So then we need body, Persia, CPU, Proximo, backpack is currently Elephas. Bison? Huh? Huh. Never seen the range stat on backpacks before. I wonder what that means. I don't know what that would affect. Maybe how far away they can use items from? Wow, that looks like that's great. Bison. Alright, now let me review how many of these I need. So, I already bought it for the main character, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of all of those things. In addition, I only need 10 of the weapons because Meihua uses melee weapons. And I only need 9 because Purunga also uses melee weapons. Okay. So, 11 of the body pieces. Let's do those first. Oh, really? Range on the backpack increases the missile attack range? That sounds pretty great. Seems really strong. Yeah, our education system does not make it easy to try different things. It would be cool if they had a official program for that in the US. Okay, so we're buying Black Star times 9 and Thunderbolt times 9.
Thank you.
And then WS-14B times 11.
Thank you.
One of the other things I did off stream was I bought the highest level repair kit for everybody. So I should be able to get it close to a full heal whenever I have to use repair kits from now on. Very nice. Wild Goat. Persia times 11.
Thank you.
Glad we don't have to farm for money. I think I have enough money for the rest of the game. They're doing the arena so much off stream. Prismare we weren't replacing. Legs we weren't replacing. The CPU is Proximo. I think I only want 9 of them and try to get the one that favors melee. For 2 melee characters. Let's see. That would be this one. Mezzo. Backpack was Bison, and that's good for everybody.
Thank you.
Alright, now we just gotta go through and equip those in everyone, and then we should be good to go. I hope we get there in my lifetime, Kaimam. Experimentation barely costs anything other than time. That would be really, really nice. Here you get one shot, and your one shot is gonna put you in debt for the rest of your life. Whether or not it makes you money. I think that's much worse, right? When like... shoot, Black Star, okay. Black Star, Thunderbolt, WS-14B, Crane. Okay. And then... these are... I don't know what order these are in. Proximo, one down. This one's actually kind of hard to autopilot on, so excuse me if I'm quiet for a bit as I equip all this shit. Persia. Right. So. Hey, Nodovan, by the way, sorry about the Subnautica spoilery thing yesterday. I was just kind of stressed out because there were a bunch of new people in chat. Once you get all those new people, I get worried that one of them will be like, "Hey, did you know that giant monster spawns directly left of the starting point?" I was being extra aggressive about shutting anybody down for telling me stuff I didn't know about yet. Proximo, Bison. The Thunderbolt looks like a dong. Yeah, it's not quite in his hand, is it, Six Gun? Wow, alright. All my robots have giant dongs now. Great. That's funny. I guess it could look less like a dong if I didn't have it in their right hand. I'm sure somebody's made a mech fiction where all the mechs have giant dongs. He hangs dong, dude. Oh, has anyone watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I guess, first? I wonder if anyone's seen the new season. Let me know if it's good or not. Speaking of hangs dong. Dong weapons are good enough for Metal Gears, are good enough for you. First episode of the new season. Awesome chaos. You guys haven't seen Always Sunny, it's very good. Seinfeld on crack. Seinfeld was a show that I didn't get when I was a kid. I remember being really annoyed when it would come on TV. What station was it on? It wasn't Fox, was it? I remember it, I believe it came on while I was waiting for some other show that I actually wanted to see. But I really like Seinfeld as an adult. Oh, good looking out, Six Gun. I'm just an autopilot over here. Mezzo, thank you. Bless you for paying attention to me equipping shit in this game. Alright, Black Star. Thunderbolts. 14. Yeah. Proximo. Bison. We're getting there. Tommy's technically a melee character, but she's so low level. The time it would take for me to upgrade her is not really worth the effort as far as I can tell, so I'm not going to. And hey, now she's got a giant robot dong, so that's always a treat. Really? Did I not upgrade her body pieces last time? Oh, I must have been so uninvested in her as a character that I didn't give her these upgrades here. Legs were... She's dead. Right shoulders, crane, there we go. Next, we're almost done. We got like 1 or 2 more characters to do. Then we can go play the game again. Arms are fine. Proximo. Bison. OTB. Crane. Perzia. That was the melee one. Bison. One more. Black Star. Change his whole body parts first, don't I? I'm gonna have to buy some new stuff. I forgot that this character wasn't as kitted out as everyone else. We'll see. Black Star. Really? Does he not have a right arm? He needs to have the donkey equipped? Okay. I don't understand it, but that's fine. Probably not gonna use him. He's just missing an arm. Huh. Alright. Right on. Alright, catching up on chat. I'm sorry. Dong weapons. Undead isn't even that bad comparatively. Wow, that's how much I love what my mom say. 5,000 euros. Wow. That would be really nice. That's like less than a car loan. Pretty standard starting out car loan is like $12,000, $13,000. Seinfeld reruns around Fox before Simpsons reruns. That's probably what it was, Six Gun. There's a window there where Home Improvement was on. Syndicated Home Improvement was before that, before The Simpsons, and that wasn't as bad. More accessible show to a kid. Really? No. I mean, not where I am. I was a UAT test manager. I was making $40,000 a year. That was technically a position that required at least a bachelor's, probably a master's. Our minimum wage here is $7.25 an hour. Doing all right. How you been, Nodovan? Did you and Chaos figure out a game that you want to do yet for the 24-hour / multiplayer streams? Okay, we're ready. Let's go. $40,000 a year. What's the cost of living? Like, what's rent per month? And how much comes out in taxes? Sorry. When I was making 40K, my monthly rent was like $700 a month for a 2-bedroom, because Ohio is pretty cheap. Can I just pass my turn and let them come to me? Or an end phase button? Let's see what happens. In taxes, increase from coverage. $900, sure. Ceasefire. It's Frederick. He's on the enemy's side. We've almost had a battle end for story reasons in the past a couple times. We even had one that the ceasefire was declared mid-battle, and we still kept fighting. Is that even in the Pacific Northwest, Yukupo, where your cost of living is that much higher? There's a really bad inequality issue across the board. Yeah, I'd take lower pay too. For sure. It's not Frederick, is it? Okay. Sorry, I'd love to stop fighting you guys, but I don't think the mission will end if I do. Whoa, the crane is awesome. We've seen that Gens character earlier. And it's almost impossible to get a good salary in retail. If you work a job like that is kind of built on not respecting you as a human being, right? That was the kind of job that Kat was working to for the longest time, and Donovan. Basically, it's perpetually minimum wage with no chance for advancement ever, right? So if the minimum wage sucks, then your pay sucks. No chance for advancement, no access to time off. If you get sick, you could get fired. Yeah. Right. Because you've been there longer, now you have more responsibilities, but no resulting pay increase. Preferably I can get by with around 800 per month. It's pretty good. I'm trying to think of, as a bachelor, the least amount of money that I lived on monthly. What's the euro to dollar conversion right now? I'm just treating them mentally as being roughly equal. So full time probably makes something like 23,000 euro per year. I'm not used to having enemies be different colors. I can't keep track of who's an enemy and an ally. Here goes $1.16. Okay. So I basically just assume they're 1-to-1. Oh, that green open. Sorry, Frederick. Don't team up with the enemy next time, dude. Hopefully I didn't just kill him permanently. I don't think that ever happens in this game. Isn't food more expensive in Europe, though? You haven't driven market prices of groceries down to where you're paying pennies. Like in the US. Depends on the country. My bad. I'm sorry. That's always fun. Europe is one single entity, and we can make sweeping generalizations about the whole thing, right? Finland's one of the most expensive. Maybe that's where I was thinking that was the case across the board. Based on, like, proximity to agriculture, like how far they have to take stuff. Like, I know that, like, cheese, for example, is really expensive in Japan because it's mostly imported from, like, New Zealand. Right. Basically, everyone in the US needs to have a car, unless if you live in a really dense urban center with great public transportation, like New York City or Boston. And you live right downtown where the cost of living is insane to, you know, account for the great transportation. Let's go with Boxstar 2 items. Oh, that would be great. $30 a month for unlimited public transport. Yeah. Car So the poverty trap that my family was in, and just about everyone I know from that area and that income range was in, was a situation where you were completely dependent on your vehicle to survive, to be able to get to your job and work and earn income, but that you never were able to afford to get a decent car. Like from the beginning, you didn't have anyone to help you out with buying one. So your first car, you probably paid $5,000 for a car with over 100,000 miles on it that was destined to fail within a year or two of you buying it. And then the car fails and you still haven't paid off your original car, so now you have to go get another one. It's an emergency because you need the car to live. You get another car that's equally crappy. You have a second loan on top of the first one. And you just repeat that cycle over and over and over. Even if you were able to afford to get a new-ish car, like Andrea's Ford Focus, she bought with like 3,000 miles on it, so it already had the loss of value from coming off the lot the first time applied. That was $13,000 for that car, I want to say. It's pretty cheap. I think her car payment was of order like $300 a month just for a car. Whereas it sounds like you're paying $30 a month for unlimited public transport. It's a factor of 10 more expensive. Been in that situation, it's the worst. Yeah, driving sucks. Owning cars sucks. So it's just a trap. It goes around and around and around. Car trouble will basically ruin most people, I would say, in the US. You're one failed transmission away from bankruptcy. Right, and with 4 kids, it's even harder. You can't just get the first 2-door that pops up. That's part of why I'm so, like, stoked for automated cars. I know it sounds like it's less, it's further on the horizon than it seemed to be, like, 5 years ago. But I feel like that's going to be a really great boon to a lot of American working families. Yeah. I got to experience, I don't really get to Lyft or Uber very much living in Los Alamos. Like, I think there's one Uber Lyft driver for the entire town. He just kind of like leaves his house if someone hails a car. But when we were in Seattle, like, there were a number of times where I would get on my phone to hail a Lyft to take us back home from the Benaroya Hall. And I would press schedule, and within a second of pressing schedule, guy would honk his horn because he was just driving a loop and was like already within range of us and saw us standing on the corner. It was very sci-fi. Man, if only that had been a robot instead of a person. Uber and Lyft are like that in DC as well. Yeah. I imagine the fares are dirt cheap too. I mean, it sucks for the drivers, but it's convenience and price. It's so much better than a taxi. It's one of those things where, like, you experience it once and you're like, why have I ever been in a taxi? Like, has this been possible all along? Everything's smaller and condensed, yeah. Yeah, right. If I just want to go to Santa Fe, which is probably the nearest, most significant urban center, it's about a 40-minute drive. And it's basically wasteland between here and there. There's a few, like, gas stations and grocery stores along the expressway to get there, but it's mostly just servicing the expressway. Downtown Denver as well, 5-10 minutes in the suburbs. even 5-10 minutes is preferable to a taxi, right? Like, I constantly have anxiety whenever I've used taxis that if I try to schedule one that it's not going to show up when I need it. But I had zero anxiety about just ordering a Lyft at 4 in the morning to get to the airport. And I think it took the guy like 5 minutes to get there, but... Yeah, train grid and bus network would be impossible in the US, right? Average commute is pretty long. Alright, see you, sir. I still see... Uber appears to me to be a placeholder for when it can be serviced by an automated fleet. Like, I really feel like that's their end game and has been the end game for a while. Across the entire country in 2 hours. Wow. Yeah, Ohio is already like 4 hours wide. I remember California alone is enormous. Kat and Donovan came to visit us when we were in California, and we were in basically we were in San Francisco, and their family was like, "You should go visit your sister. She lives in San Diego. You'll be right there." And it's like, "That's like a 7-hour drive, Mom." Like, be like saying, "Oh, you're going to Ohio? You should visit your sister who lives in New York." Right there, right? Oh, really? The US used to have an extensive bus network, but died when plane flights were deregulated in the 80s and prices dropped. The price is competitive? It feels like it's expensive to fly. I expect to pay about a minimum of $300 to fly anywhere. I'd take a longer bus ride if I could. Greyhound is all over the place, right? You can see that in a lot of older movies from that era. Right. More flight services, all competing for the minimum service, which is still happening, right? Like, now US airlines are charging to check bags, or not to check bags, to carry on bags, excuse me. What were some of the regulations that were removed that were bad for consumers, Sixgun? I don't know very much about the airline industry. I read that really interesting thread that said that as gross as first class is, it's kind of necessary to keep the cost of flights down for everybody else. Because like they can be fairly certain that all those seats will be bought up, no matter what cost they charge for them. From TC to Boston, looking at $250 for deregulation. 5 times that. Wow. Traveling longer with a questionable company. Yeah, I mean the light link rail in Seattle is fine, but it was a little scary. We had this crack addict. Kat could probably tell the story. He definitely had smoked crack right before getting on the train, but he sat right next to Leewit, Ginny, who was with us at PAX, and just like sat and stared right at her for the whole trip from the airport to our stop, and then started complaining really loudly about technology and video games ruining the world. And, like, Kat and I were both in hardcore protect the group, tank this guy, don't let him get upset, don't make him angry. Just a lot of that in Seattle. He started complaining about Bitcoin. It's like, whatever, dude. Only one company did New York to Philly. Oh, all the flight routes were monopolies. Wait, so regulation led to monopolies in this case? How'd that happen? Dude sharpening a 4-inch knife. Yikes. Oh, same way it happened to taxi services before Uber. Okay. Because with taxi, it's like there's all this regulation about having to obtain a medallion, and it becomes increasingly difficult for a new taxi service to spring up that can earn all of those certifications, essentially. Yeah, dude's complaining about Bitcoin. It was really... They're all rolling our eyes. Now they got that Bitcoin. What are you talking about, dude? This weird redneck with no teeth. Felt bad for him. Like, Seattle has a really bad drug problem, and I spent most of the convention sad about the homeless situation there too. It's like I really, really, really want to help. I grew up as, you know, my parents, despite having nothing, would always reach out and help homeless people. But it's like it's such an enormous problem, and you can't even make a dent in it, and you don't know how many people are, you know, what the actual need is in a lot of cases. And it feels really bad. You're walking around at this video game convention, and everyone's having a good time, dressed up in their costumes, and there are people that are like starving on the street, right? Oh, that's such a shitty situation. We were talking about it, we were like, wouldn't it be cool if like PAX, 'cause, you know, PAX raises so much money for Child's Play, the Children's Hospital charity. Maybe if we like had some initiative to raise money to help the homeless in town. Like, well, what is your priority with that? Do you find an existing Seattle institution? Send the money to them? Do you try to directly open up like a PAX soup kitchen? Like with the drug problem there, that might be actively dangerous. You don't want a bunch of awkward nerds serving people that are potentially on dangerous drugs. Arizona, New Mexico has started assigning unoccupied homes to the homeless. I don't know. That sounds like a good idea, though. I imagine that's also difficult, but... When we talk about the why don't they just effect, I feel like homelessness is the epitome of why don't they just... a problem that has many, many, many why don't they just solutions. It is much more complicated than it seems at first glance, unfortunately. Just Bitcoining gamers these days, right? I was trying to engage him a bit, asking him some tricky questions, like, and he was like, they got Bitcoin now, and I'm like, oh, so, what did you think about fiat currency no longer being connected to the silver or gold standard? Did that bother you? He's like, what? Okay. Right. Being homeless is a trap as well. It's once it happens, especially if you live in a really expensive area like Seattle, it's difficult for me to imagine what you could possibly do to get out of it. And there's this big thing where people are like, oh, you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps to fix the problem, but like, so many jobs require that you have an address, or that you have a nice set of clothes, or that you have access to a shower, like all these things that you don't really think about. Without somebody intervening to give you that first little boost up, it's a positive feedback loop, you know? Self-reinforcing. Bootstraps are hard to come by when you can't find any boots. Housing first are becoming popular in the US. There are definitely many areas where there are certainly vacant buildings available. So, like, what's the argument against a housing first initiative? Because it can't just be that simple, right? We can't just say, oh, there are empty houses, let's give them for free to homeless people. Is it an incentive problem? Does it create issues for people that didn't get a house that they can live in for free? Discussion of America's social problems. Yeah, political quarantine gets pretty suspended during front mission. I think the people that are hanging around during front mission, we're not really going to get into a fight, so... Mechs and politics. There aren't enough houses. It's a moral argument? That's really dumb, though. Okay. Alright. If you could make the financial argument... Despite not wanting people to get something they didn't earn. I had to work hard for what I have, we shouldn't let them be lazy. Yeah. Hazing culture. Same thing we get in video games. It's obviously a much less severe situation, but how dare they patch the game to be less annoying? I had to suffer through it, everyone else should suffer through it too. I fought this boss in Dark Souls before it was patched to be easier. Situation. Yes, I would argue that the vast majority of people that are homeless or addicted to drugs, do not deserve to be in the situation that they're in. To the extent you can say that anyone deserves to have that level of suffering, it's already a problem to begin with, but people's stories are a lot more complicated than we make them out to be in a lot of cases. Like I said, my sister is, for a long time, one little bit of car trouble away from bankruptcy. It's a miracle my parents weren't homeless and aren't homeless right now. If my grandma wasn't housing them in Arkansas, they would 100% be homeless. Or I would have taken them in, or my sister Robin would have taken them in, right? Trying to send her back towards the truck here. Mobility in the US is super low. All you need to work for what you have is a lie. In most cases, it's not possible. If you're born poor, you'll die poor. Yeah. Social Darwinism, anti-social aid, right? People own houses and buildings. Government seizure of private property that opens a bag of worms. Right. Right, so that's the argument. Yeah, so the city has already budgeted some amount of money for handling its homeless problem, whether that's, jail time, mental institutions, publicly funded soup kitchens. The argument is you take that existing money and you redirect it towards buying homes from private sellers at the market rate, and then you give those houses free of charge to homeless people. Am I understanding the Housing First initiative correctly? So it's generally not eminent domain. You're not seizing properties. Cost of renting, buying a house from someone to provide an address for someone improving if they're looking for work ends up costing less than the medical bills and cleanup. Yeah. Episode of the Revealed podcast earlier about victim compensation for people who are victims of criminal action. Oh no. That's awful, Yukipo. Yeah, once you're a criminal, you're damned for life in this country. I remember Kat brought this up, and it kind of surprised me. So there was, I'm trying to remember his name. There was this like SoundCloud rapper, really young guy that died recently. He got shot. It was an unfortunate situation, but the rapper guy was kind of a scumbag. Oh, XXX Tentacion, that was his name, I just remember. He was a scumbag. He did this really allegedly did this really fucked up thing to his girlfriend. but he was also like 20 years old, right? And there was this attitude on the internet of like celebration when he died because of this really fucked up thing that he did. Like, really, I even was having that's unforgivable, you know, good riddance to bad rubbish kind of attitude about it. But Kat's attitude was, so if someone makes a mistake when they're young, no matter how vile the mistake, that means that they're basically damned forever. Like, as soon as someone makes that big of an error, they can never be allowed to learn from it or grow from it. Because that is that the attitude that you're going for. Like, it's not what I thought that I meant, but I kind of see what you mean, you know. PO box wouldn't quite. Yeah, having an address is a big deal, Game Saucer. You can't run background checks with a PO box, really. Running people at home is cheaper than the cost of running healthcare that is typically required for the homeless. Yeah. I think it's one of those, it's like, it's a higher order of thinking than what your lizard brain wants to do. I think your lizard brain wants to have this, like, revenge. You do something evil once, you're evil forever, you can never learn from it. Like, that's kind of the easy position to naturally fall into without thinking about it too much more. And it requires a lot of extra mental effort to, like, have compassion for someone that does something that's that evil, you know? I used to have contempt for drug addicts, but it's like nobody gets addicted to a drug because they want to be a drug addict, right? If you only ever feel normal and okay when you take some substance, like, is it not rational to take that substance as much as you possibly can? It's really, really hard. You can also think about mistakes that you make that you get away with just through random luck or chance. Stupid things that you did that didn't, you know, a police officer didn't drive by as it was happening or didn't get reported. Yeah, I totally agree, Six Gun. I don't understand really the argument for that. Felony disenfranchisement. Right. The P.O. Box would be a step in the right direction, right? I'm not saying that this is the final solution. Not saying that this is the ultimate way to fix it. This guy's using this island for his personal gain. Sagata Industries are the bad guys. What?
Oh my god.
We're gonna flip and team up with the terrorists.
Although actually it was sort of obvious.
What Japanese tactical RPG is this? He doesn't know what his father has done. Infiltrated a UCS research facility. Oh, is felony disenfranchisement tied to Jim Crow laws? I thought it was a much older concept. Remember, Ryuji's dad is the mech scientist guy. Right. Kaimon. They're doing human cloning? What? The robots in Front Mission are powered by human brains that have been implanted into biochips. That's kind of cool. I don't know if that's true in the other entries in the franchise, but this is like an anthology series. Can you really just like clone a brain and put it on a computer chip though? Created the B device, a biocomputer using the brains of experienced soldiers. Go to the Nirvana Institute facilities north of Fort Knox. This is the most story this game has had in a really long time, outside of maybe the opening cutscene. Taking wounded soldiers from their hospital beds and turning them into computers. Jeez. B device is such a Japanese name for it. Oh, I wonder if they put his girlfriend Karen into a computer. Yeah, I like how we still had to completely fight and destroy them after Frederick was on their side, because, you know, it's a video game mission. Oh, I'll have to watch it, Kai Mom. I'm behind on John Oliver. Proportion of homeless people manage to hold down a job at the same time. I know some people that have lived in a car and worked a job. I really recommend Atlanta if you haven't watched it. Fantastic, fantastic show. Donald Glover. It's funny, but it's also very serious. And does a really good job of showing the banality of being in that sort of situation. Being homeless, you know, dealing with drugs around you, being arrested for no reason. Like, because you think about, like, oh goodness, if I lost my house, if I had to go to jail, that would be really bad. And it's like, no, it's actually just kind of Monday to Friday thing for lots of people. It's a different perspective than I had seen from it before. No, I'm sorry to hear that, Chaos. It sucks. You kind of have to like get a YMCA membership in order to shower. Find the cheapest possible, or like, you know, crash on other people's couches or use their shower. Just want to see if there's new stuff here. Refer to that time as our extended camping trip. Going to an extremist utilitarian outlook isn't what you'd want. Wish more people would put the long-term health of society or what they feel people deserve. Yeah. Can't expect society to improve if you're just expecting the masses to arbitrarily change to meet your value system one day. I think I agree completely this name. I think that I got mine, fuck you attitude is, like I was saying earlier, it's the default state for the lizard brain to take. You know, you can kind of see where a person's coming from when they're saying, I'm taking care of my family and I don't want to look out for anybody else, because that's evolution. That's what we evolved to think. Like I've said many times on stream, I don't think that we were biologically capable of processing that something can impact more than a group of like 50 people that we know and are related to. You can't respond proportionally when your cousin dies to, like, you know, 100,000 people dying in a massacre in Africa. Or your brain would short circuit and you would die. It doesn't come naturally to have that empathy on that level, right? That doesn't excuse people who don't have empathy. But I can kind of see why their brains are wired that way. Lack of a safety net helps with that attitude. And we shift the dialogue over where, like, providing a safety net is communist. It's evil. Even saying that communist is evil is already a shift in the dialogue, right? Yeah, the incarceration problem is very, very, very bad. Very bad. And completely upside down, imbalanced, like... Some people get 14 days in probation. Other people go to jail for years and years for trivial offenses. In a mobile home. I have some friends that live in mobile homes. Yeah, I went to a school that was abstinence-only sex ed in Ohio. I think it's still the case in Ohio, I'm not sure. Our health teacher was pissed about it. He was like, I can't tell you anything. You can't afford bail, you get to rot while you wait for a trial. Is there a better solution to bail? Bail can bankrupt you too, right? Because you can get a bail bond, you can get a loan, but it's just as much of a poverty trap. California's doing it with cash bail. Nice. What's their alternative plan? Like, the purpose of bail is to be, and please correct me if I have this wrong, I'm not as familiar. The reason we're holding you prior to trial is because we don't want you to flee pending trial, because if you flee, then justice will not be achieved. So we're going to give you the opportunity to promise that you'll stay by giving us something that you need, i.e. your money, which will be returned to you if you're found not guilty, right? The problem ends up being that for some people the cost of bail is nothing and it won't actually keep them from fleeing. And for other people the cost of bail is so high that they're unable to pay it, so they'll be held before trial regardless, or they'll have to take out a bond that costs them a ton of money in the long run. Ankle bracelets. Okay, so technology is a potential solution. Oh, it's returned when you show up for court. Okay, I misunderstood that part. They said it was making me have to go back to the OCU for days first. Could be and probably is discriminatory. Rich people are the ones most likely to have the capacity to flee, but can easily pay bail, right? It's a better band-aid than rubbing sewage in the wound, right? I think that attitude is it's nihilistic. The rubbing sewage in the wound, the like spite-based, hazing-based approach to life. What a beautiful place. It's Karen. What? It's Lloyd's girlfriend from the first mission who we thought got blown up and killed. I guess she's not a computer. Unless this could also be a memory. I think this is a flashback, never mind. Still a good chance that Karen's a computer. Matches the system to ensure people showed up for court without detaining them pre-trial. It clearly is not effective at achieving its objectives. Ankle bracelets seem like a elegant solution. I don't know what the problems are with ankle bracelets, if anything, though. Lloyd still doesn't have guide level 3. Probably make it to the end of the game without him ever learning it. Frederick's back. Great. I think I'll keep working on getting guide for him. I think it takes him the longest of any character to learn. I don't remember why. Among the characters that are able to learn it, I guess. I am with you, Kai Mom. Yeah, I think we all probably agree with you. A lot of them do feel like, why don't they just... In many cases, like, every bit of evidence points in the direction of, let's do this, why aren't we doing this? Oh my god, we know that other countries are doing this and it works fine, why are we not doing the same thing? And it's just this fundamental disagreement on what's real and what's not real, and the value of data, and how we should feel about our fellow humans. It's like, it's a moral debate. A moral debate. Yeah, I agree with you, Nodovan. I definitely see... I see the good all the time, and a lot of the good is out there if you only know where to look for it. Like, you know, going to PAX, for example, is always a really good experience for me. Everyone's just so out for everybody else, you know, looking out for each other. So Mr. Rogers that said whenever there's a disaster, you know, look for the helpers. It's still there. Government's designed to be slow and ponderous, prevent capricious change, makes it massively difficult to make real change, right? We have a lot of things that I think about as being like systemic bugs. You know, so like talking about how first past the post voting systems are bugged. It's a neat idea, but if you do the math, it means that you will always arrive at a two-party system no matter what. It's not evil, it's just an error that's remarkably difficult to correct, because when the people in charge of how people are voted for win by this broken system, they have no incentive to fix the broken system, right? Otherwise they're less likely to win again. Problems like that abound. Problems with math. Well-intentioned system ideas from a long time ago. One of the founding fathers described Congress as a heavyweight on the arm of government to prevent things like declaring war too quickly. Daylight savings times. Benign example of something no one really advocates for, it would take so much to get rid of it. That's a good point. Or like converting to metric would be too difficult to get rid of, despite the significant advantages. What? What's your problem with metric, Nodovan? Are you serious? Yeah. First past the post really bothers me. No, go for it. Six gun, this is the time to do it. This crane gun is the best. It does so much damage. With guy level 3, it almost always hits. Temperature 6, there's no foot equivalent. So baby with the bathwater, I see, Nodovan. Jeez. I do agree, I think I like Fahrenheit better than Celsius. Although Celsius is useful if you look at the decimal. C is useful for scientists. Right. Well, daylight savings time would be a massive undertaking if the government announced tomorrow. Like, suppose I was working at Chase, for example, and the government announced, "Hey, we're going to abolish daylight savings time across the United States." Like, the thought of testing that project, the number of things that are dependent on time, that are already dependent on let me see if I can. There's a really good, I think it's a number file video about how difficult fixing DST would be and how dependent programmers are on other people's libraries for dealing with DST in the first place. It's a computer file, actually. Oh yeah, watch this video. It's terrifying. But I see your point. It is indefensible that we still have daylight savings times today, and we should be taking the steps to fix it like we did with like Y2K, but we're not. Even though it makes things much more complicated. But you dipped that foot in the metric pool. I guess we already have Kelvin as an in-lab measurement that no human is expected to use. I guess the idea of saying, like, advocating for wanting to say it's in the 90s is advocating for lack of precision, right? Isn't it more valuable that 34 means something very specific than to say, I don't know, it's somewhere between 90 and 99? Like, I could see why you could be, because I like saying it's in the 90s, but, like, you're excited about the fact that you're not giving someone specific information because you have a too spread out temperature gradient system. I think that argument only makes sense when you don't know what 34 degrees Celsius means. Because once you are immersed in it for a long enough period of time, it's like people complaining that, oh, if we convert to metric, then I'm gonna have to convert all the time. It's like, no, you're gonna have to convert once, and then you will never have to convert again. Good job, Bobby. I think it's elegant to set it to like the freezing and boiling point of water, but I guess the problem is it's pretty disconnected from human experience when you're only using the lower third of that window, right? Right, because you've been immersed in it, Game Saucer. But coming back to the original question of it, like, there are absolutely a lot of issues like that where it just seems, oh my god, this is so obvious. Why aren't we just fixing it already? Can we just fix it? And it's usually an issue of bureaucracy, it's an issue of who makes the call, what body comes out and says, all right, we're going to go ahead and make this change. Who has a check on them? How many people are going to complain about it? What do their complaints mean? Right. Yeah, I cannot tell you the difference between 91 degrees and 94 degrees Fahrenheit. I would say it's in the 90s. Yeah, who are the squeaky wheels? How much power do the squeaky wheels have? Yeah, are we playing Paper Mario or Final Fantasy? That's a good way to put it. But to Kaimom's original point, I think that a lot of people in the US feel similarly to you. Know that you're not a lone sane person and there's this like country of crazy people over here. A good chunk of us are looking at these problems like, this is so common sense. Why aren't we taking steps to fix this now? And in a lot of cases, it's problems that aren't even, they shouldn't even be controversial. It's bizarre that they're controversial in the first place. Like when you can do the math and say, look, this is just a net benefit. Like everyone wins. Literally no one loses if we do this. Why are we doing it? It's not an issue like, you know, abortion, where I feel a way about abortion, and we don't need to talk about abortion during forefront. Someone's gonna watch this on YouTube at some point and man, they really got into deep shit on the stream. But my point in bringing up abortion is to be like, I can understand my opponent's opinion on abortion and see how that's not an easily solved question, because there's a moral, there's a religious, there's a faith component. But there are a lot of problems that are not like abortion, that don't have two sides, that have one obvious right answer and a stupid answer. Right? And the fact that we're even debating it seems kind of silly in the first place. US is being obstinate. Yeah. Giving in is like losing face. You know, it might be part of it. I think that that obstinance has a lot to do with, you know, I don't know if you can say that that's true nationally, but for a given rando, I think that has a lot to do with it. Like, you've been so vocally against healthcare for everybody that the more sense it makes, the more stupid you look for having been against it for so long. And you can't just be like, oh, now that I see the data, I guess it makes sense. Sorry about that. I was legitimately mistaken before. You just have to, like, double down. Because the alternative to doubling down is admitting that you're a moron, basically. Climate change. Streak of obstinate tendencies that got worse during the Cold War. We won't go into it. I grew up very religious, so I can imagine myself in that point of view, although I disagree with it, the pro-life position. I don't want to offend anyone who feels otherwise. I do think that everyone can agree that abortion is not preferable. Like, I don't think there's anyone on this earth who's like, you know what I really want? An abortion. Abortion sounds great. Nothing would make me happier than having this really painful, awful, brutal medical procedure, you know? And I think it's cartoonish to characterize anybody as wanting that. Looking for it as an option is different from celebrating it. Yeah, exactly, you could go. But within that band, even if you're willing to accept that, you know, no one is in favor that actively wants to force people to have abortions or something like that. Like, if you can get into that realm of reason, which most people are not in the debate. Most people in debate are, you support it clearly, you want it to happen, and you want people to get them all the time, which is a fantasy land opinion. Like, even if you get into the reasonable space, I can still kind of see where the other side is coming from, even though I disagree with it. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, we can go in divisive. I'll pop in there after stream. That might be a little bit too heavy. I only mentioned it as an example of an issue that could be argued to kind of sort of have two sides. Right? I love that newsroom clip where they're talking about bias toward fairness in the media, that, like, it's assuming that all issues have two sides, but some issues just don't. Like, climate change doesn't have more than one side. Vaccines don't have more than one side. The shape of the Earth is not flat. It does not have two sides. The point he makes in that video is like, you know, if a congressional body passed a resolution stating that the Earth was flat, the news would lead with politicians can't agree over the shape of the Earth. Wanting people to be free to do X is not the same as wanting everyone to do X, right? And it's difficult to separate the two in a lot of cases. Rather than on paper, both exist to entry. Putting together is a byproduct of that rather than the other way around. Right. Yeah, it's like a sports team thing. Cheering for your side. Yeah. Well, since we've, by even bringing up abortion, since we've fully disbanded the political quarantine for this poor front mission stream. Yeah, the ACA is kind of funny, though. It's like, we're not going to do your plan. This is the only plan that we would do. This plan, which is basically Obamacare, the ACA. And Obama does like a duck season, wabbit season thing to the Republicans. He's like, all right, we'll do that one. That's better than what we currently have. Sure. Wait, what? Wabbit season? Well, now what? How do we fight against our own idea? Hey, sir. How you doing? BBC just issued a directive to its staff about that regarding climate change, stating that they do not need to have a climate change denier on to have a thoroughly reported story. Nice. It's one of those things where I am at once happy that we're moving in the right direction and also terrified that that only just now happened. It's nothing controversial. I grew up pretty hardcore in that space. I was a hardcore, like, apologist, evangelical, not evangelical in the sense of, you know, a specific sect of Protestants, evangelical as in, like, I would go to classmates and tell them about the good word. So I have a pretty baked-in empathy for that point of view. My dad's a Lutheran minister. I know, right? I'll just title it Political Quarantine Suspended Front Mission Stream. There's mechs on the ground, and they're fighting each other turn by turn. I think I would like to keep religion... Let's be very careful. Be very, very, very careful about talking about it. We can talk about it just in terms of facts about ourselves, like what our backgrounds are, but I have respect for everybody of every faith, almost. Because if you're a Scientologist, explain to me why. Topic, because I think that's easier. It's easier to alienate someone on that topic than it is on, like, you know, should we just make sure that people are fed and clothed and don't die. Destroys religion for sure. It's live on stream. Right, chaos. Just randomly have clickbait titles for all the front mission videos. I think it's a source of great angst, stress, when it seems like problems have an obvious solution and they're not being acted upon. That's the essence of why don't they just. I think there's two sides to it. One side is, don't oversimplify problems. If you think why don't they just, there's probably more to it. And that's usually the lighter way we see it happen when people complain about problems in video games. Why don't they just fix the servers, But it's much worse when there's a legitimate argument there and it's not happening for stupid human or political reasons. Yeah, you're 7 years old. Yeah. I think it's a comfort thing. Actually, one of the kids that I used to proselytize to when I was in high school was a hardcore. He described himself as a Satanist, but he didn't know what a Satanist was. A fellow goth kid. Anyway, he is now super Christian, and I am not. It's kind of funny that we did one of these. Apparently, I found his arguments compelling, and he found my arguments compelling. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm really close to gaming over there. Wow. Let's save. Right, if the main character dies, it's game over. I should not put him anywhere near any semblance of danger. Gee wilkers. Okay. Get him the hell out of Dodge. Apathy's existence is irrelevant. Finland's Lutheran. I didn't know that. Kidding. I know a lot of really good religious people. I don't know if I know anyone that I would consider a close friend who I would describe as fundamentalist, as brooking no discussion, this is the way it works, and I am the authority on this. So yeah. I think that generally being uncompromising about anything really isn't a good thing. Yeah, same here, Yukupo. It was a source of a lot of frustration for my parents, who were deeply religious. Like I said, my dad's a minister. They were both in the church band. Very, very, very involved with the church. So I can imagine from their perspective, if you believe with your heart of hearts that the pathway to eternal salvation is this very specific set of actions and beliefs, and the pathway to eternal damnation is this opposed set of steps and beliefs. Like, if your child rejected those things and you now feared for their immortal soul, I can understand, the stress that would come with that. I didn't understand it when I was a teenager. I was a shit when I was a teenager. I do get along well with my parents. I don't see them often because they're very far in Arkansas. They're like nested beyond a normal airport. You have to get to an airport that will then take you via a prop plane to a really rural airport, and you'll then rent a car and drive 2 hours to reach them. We've reached a good middle ground compromise state since my childhood. It was pretty rocky for a while, though. Right. Hi, JJ. Complaining about repair bills. I'm really glad this game doesn't have permadeath. I think it would be worse for it if it did. Let's get the main character out of harm's way, and let's finish off this last thing here. Oh, really, sir? Huh. I think we would benefit from religion classes in the US. Just kind of like a automatic course. Just kind of gives you a brief overview of how everybody works, what their deal is. That's a why don't they just request, though. A lot of people are very opposed to those concepts. I remember I had a public school that one time did that just around like the holidays. They're like, hey, let's explore how different people celebrate holidays. So let's make, potato cakes for Hanukkah, that kind of stuff. And it got some pushback from frustrated parents. Yeah. I guess the problem is it's difficult to teach religion clinically. Like, there are a lot of things in religion that, if not presented with reverence, will automatically come across as absurd to your typical child. If that makes sense. So, like, there is a reverent way to describe the Christian sacrament of communion. There's a way to present communion in a way that makes sense. And there's a very, very, very irreverent way to present communion that's just kind of literally describing what the process is. That if I were a Christian, I would be angry and offended by, even though it might be an accurate description, if that makes sense. So the question, the why don't they just question then becomes, who is in charge of designing that description? Like, is it a Christian body that intervenes and says this is how we're going to describe the sacrament of communion? Is it a body of other religions that might be opposed? I don't know. It's very, very hard to do. Yeah. I think an academic religion course would be cool. I guess you get away with it more in college. If you do it in like public schools, K to 12, there'll be riots in the streets in some states. Okay, we barely got out of that mission alive. See if there's other missions on the map here. Of history and then teaching it as an ideology. Kaihan, for instance, is an ethics class instead of religious. Huh. History would be nice. I think it's important to understand the ideology aspect. Like, I think it's regrettable that I don't really know the difference between the different factions of Islam, for example. Every now and then I pause and I Google it and I read the Wikipedia articles, but it's not ingrained in me. Like, I very clearly know the difference between Catholicism and Protestantism, right? Or I think I have a better understanding of the differences between different schools of Buddhism, which is less useful politically than understanding the disagreements that different Muslims have. And I would say that's probably a failing of my schooling. Nothing else. The terrorist leader go, just like that? Are you mad? Don't even think about running. I'll have you shot on sight. Shit. Pretty sure the Colonel's not a good guy. We haven't quite switched sides yet. Yes, she was absolutely sent to Nirvana to become a computer lady. Oh man, people are just leaving me left and right here. Disobeying orders. Jeez. She was pretty high level too. She had guide level 3. Now I'm really bummed. There you go, trying to sneak off on your own again. You know you can't fool us. Man, Lloyd. Waterfall bar. I keep forgetting Pee-wee exists. Except for Keith and JJ, they went with Natalie. Oh man. Damn it! So we lost our 3 best pilots and I've got Molly with me. Great. Maybe it'll be like Final Fantasy VII and they'll immediately rejoin me. Played a couple games that have done that, and movies actually. Seen movies where like they'll have a scene that makes you think that characters are abandoning you, and then they come back immediately. You know, it's not like Star Wars where it seems like Han Solo is leaving and doing his own thing, and then at the right moment, just when you forgot about him, he shows up and saves the day. It's like 2 minutes. You know, the movie where there's a death scene and then the character gets resurrected instantly and you don't get a chance to feel anything about it. Alright, I'm tempted to go in the arena and try to pump Frederick up. I guess I could go to the next level and see if it's really hard without my best pilots. I literally just lost my 3 best pilots. I feel like it was okay. 12 years worth of religious studies. Delved in the historical aspects of religion, taught how different religions affected the politics in certain eras of history, what kinds of different religions there are, what they're all about, or being envious of not being able to take that ethics class. Kaihan's taking an ethics class? How old is she again? Like, to convert that to a US grade. Shit, got Driscoll and my worst pilots. She's 11. Okay, so that's... She's in, like, 4th grade. In the US. She's taking an ethics class since age 7? Wow. Oh, I'm super jelly. 5th grade? Okay. Gen's gonna be on my party this time. Turn them into robot people. Pay attention, Lloyd. Look, they take people's brains and they put them in computers. That's front mission. Evil Japanese scientist man takes brains, puts them into robots. It's like the plot of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. The robots optionally can have giant cannon dongs. Oh man, I have to use all of these crappy characters? I can't even get up to 11. They're just taunting me with that. Maybe there were other optional characters that I missed earlier. A whole new battle theme. See if I can do this without grinding. I'm not confident. Right, not even. I don't think Lloyd gets it. Third Bible study, 1/3 ethics, and the 3rd watching movies. Gotta get some of that VeggieTales on, man. VeggieTales is the shit. Silly songs with Larry. Closest you got to a religious class, 10th grade English teacher telling you to go to hell. Telling you were going to hell. Okay, that means something slightly different. Gotcha. That's funny, sir. I really want to target that particular robot. Try to move everyone in the back if I can here. I do have Gens as a party member now, that's cool. Cool looking character. Keep my leader in as far in the back as I can. VeggieTales is the shit. I won't brook. No argument. VeggieTales had a bunch of like Monty Python references in it and stuff. The Jericho movie that had the like there were peas on top of the walls, and they were basically the French knights from Holy Grail. Babysitting was mostly code for turning on VeggieTales and sitting around. Yeah. Once a month, man. I don't know, I may have ended up different if we weren't so hardcore about church. Like, since my parents were in the band, Sundays pretty much meant we had to get up and get to church at like 6 in the morning. So they had to practice and set up and stuff before the service. And then they were so involved with church services that we'd usually be at church until like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So I was at church on Sundays from like 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. It's 8 hours. I met a lot of people that were like, oh yeah, I go to church like Christmas and Easter. I used to call them CNEers. Yeah, kind of jelly. They say Catholics are obsessed with suffering. I know, right? Nah, man. So I had never been to a Catholic service, not even until I met Andrea. Andrea's family is very Catholic. And I went to one, and y'all got that shit down, man. Stand up, sit down, fight, fight, fight. You are in and out in an hour flat. You have a very rigid set of, okay, we're gonna do this, now we're gonna do this, we're gonna sing a song. And then the homily's gonna take exactly this amount of time, you get the fuck out and go home. I was like, man, I could do this. Although you guys changed the liturgy recently, didn't you? Ah. I had been to enough weddings and like visited Andrea's family enough times for Christmas that I was starting to get a hang of it. Church for me pretty quickly became a lack of Final Fantasy VI, or whatever the hell game I was playing that weekend. Coffee and cake? How unworthy we are. But hey, cake! Lutherans are generally much more, they're closer to Catholic in terms of, like, what the service is like. It's usually a 1-hour liturgy, get in, get out, get over with. But because my parents, we did the contemporary worship services, so my parents being in the band meant that we were there for much longer. It was not... It was effectively like being the minister's kid. Except we didn't have a little parish house that I could go back to outside after he was done and just, you know, play video games. Catholics with a hammer nail and a list of 95 problems. I would say but a bitch ain't one, but a bitch was definitely one of those problems. The divinity of Mary was pretty high on the list. I feel like I can't be the first person to make that joke. I'm gonna tell that joke to my dad, he'll find that very funny. Can't see that character. I kind of like the Catholics' approach to canon law, though. I don't know, like clearly thought has been put into it. Humans are flawed. So we can't talk to God. That's good. I like that about Catholicism. One of my early angst moments with Protestantism was like, wait, who are we thinking we're such hot shit that God cares about us personally? That seems kind of like we're taking ourselves a little bit too seriously. Catholics are like, no, you don't get to talk to God directly. Talk to somebody else. I'll talk to God for you. I'm like, okay, seems reasonable. This is singing in a church-sponsored choir. Experiences from services and from those few years whenever we were booked to sing during church. An hour tops. Yeah. Lucky. Y'all would die if you ever went to a black church. I was sharing this experience with Kat and Donovan, and like, go to a black Baptist church. It is not over after an hour, I'll tell you that much. It's the religious equivalent of going to a concert and the band keeps putting on encores, and the crowd's eventually over it. Talk about anything, we were very eager. I know, right? Yeah, it's been snowballing over time. Front Mission has more and more become... Like, it started a couple sessions ago with, oh, I really like this game, but there's not a lot for me to talk about turn by turn, so please, bring up anything. The VOD series is going to be really interesting. You can see the descent into madness. I actually really admire that about the Buddhists as well, speaking of putting a lot of thought into like why you do the things the way you do them. At least Tibetan Buddhism, that's what Andrea studied. She double majored in physics and religion, and mostly did Tibetan Buddhism. They have this really cool series of thinking on like how the brain perceives things. It's definitely religious, it's not scientific, but it has some cool ideas and divisions that I jive with, where it's like, all right, so let's think about all the different ways that you could perceive something. Your eyes could see something, but you could not fully ascertain it, right? You could see an object but be deceived by its shape or its shadow and not really understand what it is. And it like goes into like 20 different ways that you could see something but not really get what it actually is. Like, you know, when I talk about, hey, let's do backwards design space. Let's take a game like Civilization and say, what if you had a wonder that rewarded, you know, +1 science and +1 gold? What would that look like? Or +1 food and +2 gold? What would that look like? Same kind of approach to religious design. History of Buddhism is not button-based, that's true. Front Mission is a franchise focus. I know, right? Yeah, I know, right, Aki? Got all the angry political comments. I wonder what the like market cap on Front Mission is. If everyone who has ever been interested in watching a Front Mission Let's Play, how many people is that, I wonder? Which you could probably approximate it by finding the Let's Play series on YouTube that has the most views for any given Front Mission game. Yeah, kind of like Zen, the essence of a thing is independent from the attempt to describe or summarize it. But it just approaches it from every possible angle. Different ways you could be deceived when trying to understand a thing. Your sight could be faulty, your hearing could be faulty, your sense of touch could be faulty. Someone could have described it to you in a way that's inconsistent with reality and it changes your way of perceiving it, that sort of thing. They're just trying to like imagine what are all the different ways to combine these two things. Like if you have an element system in your video game, fire, earth, water, and air, how do all of these interact with each other? Yeah, I'm the same, Kaimam. I really appreciate that the Catholic Church now, during communion, you can go up to the priest and you can do this, which says, I'm not partaking, and they'll just give you a non-denominational blessing. Really, really cool. Because I feel the same way, like, you know, it would be distressing to Andrea's grandparents when they were alive if I sat down to not get up with everybody else for communion, but I feel icky taking communion. Because I understand, having been a Christian, like how important it is, and you don't just do it because, hey, I'm going up for crackers and juice, you know. Like, it's super serious, and I would feel disrespectful if I took it without really being invested in it. So I appreciate that at least the Catholic Church provides that for people. Mother 3 playthrough because most big Earthbound fans played it before streaming. Right, yeah. No, I remember starting it, and I got into a battle, and it was before the GBA timing was... The GBA emulator timing was good enough to do the rhythm combat, and I got really disappointed, and then I tried ordering like a physical flash cart to play it on. I probably mentioned this in the playthrough, I'm sure this is news. I ordered a physical flash cart from like Japan to flash the ROM onto it, because apparently it would have worked fine on a physical cart, and the thing was a dud. Yeah, I think that's where I was coming from like a fundamentalism thing. Like, but I mean, I guess again, it's an exercise in empathy. Like, imagine that you believe that a document is the inspired word of the creator of the universe. Suppose that is somewhere in you, whether you believe that it is the literal word, like handwritten unassailable truth or simply inspired. Like, you would be ridiculous if you believe that to not want to use that to inform your policy decisions in some way and treat it as evidence. Like, the ability to distance yourself, other people don't believe that this is true. It's very, 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 very difficult. I'm not saying that that justifies the abuse of religious documents and, you know, abetting tyranny, but you can see how one might come to that conclusion. That's good. I know that the Hebrew tradition is very similar. I remember reading about, my dad was really into running Passovers, because Passover is the Last Supper. Like, the Last Supper is a Passover, I should say. So I learned a lot about the Jewish tradition from doing that, and the Jews have this really cool concept called Midrash, which is interpreting the Old Testament, the Torah, the Bible, in its historical context, and like reading the opinions of, you know, generations of rabbis that have thought about it, and like, this is maybe what this means. Obviously, we can't be sure, you know. So like, the way that you study scripture or the Bible or holy words is necessarily informed by the thoughts and opinions of hundreds of people, right? You never are expected to read the book of Genesis and go, the events described happened literally in the order that they were presented, right? And I think that the number of people who approach the Bible like that are exaggerated, even in the US. It certainly is a thing. I definitely know fundamentalists. The rule of God doesn't need evidence. Potter is an evidence of Potter's. Yeah, but see, I agree with you, Game Saucer, but again, like, imagine that it's not opinion. Or that you are, because of the fervor of your belief, you're unable to separate it from opinion. You know that it's true. Again, not excusing it, but just putting forward a way to empathize with that point of view. That's a good way to put it, Nanavan. Right? Right, and you can list all the evidence that you have for the moon landings, and it's quite compelling. But because you can't, like, physically bring someone to the moon, if that's their standard of evidence, you kind of have to trust somebody at some point. I think I agree with that. This name, yeah. Generally, we should be especially skeptical of living humans professing to know the will of any deity. Or dead humans, for that matter. Two types of people. People can extrapolate from incomplete data. I like the binary one, too. I'm out of bullets for everybody, aren't I? Yeah, I think I am. Bummer. I got one person there, then. agnostic theist doesn't mean it's proof. Just because I know that 1 + 1 = 2 doesn't mean that I can prove it. We're not supposed to. Assumption. Ah. Yeah, I follow what you're saying. Right. Version of critical thinking. Yeah, it's hard. It's more of a human quality. If we define critical thinking as questioning whether the assumptions are correct, re-examining and going, is what I assume to be obviously true actually true? My parents taught me critical thinking. I think I owe a lot of my savvy and spark as an adult to their focus on that as a kid. I don't know I could really describe how they managed to both teach me to have unwavering faith in a specific set of ideals and critical thinking. Because you'd think that on the face of them they would be not in balance with one another. My dad was a Christian scholar, though, so that helped a lot, you know. Problem with religion is that it's people. People are bastards. Even critical thinking from British comedy. I think that's something we can all agree on, regardless of creed. Problem with X is people. Hey, Sornus, how you doing? You're not just getting a tactical RPG featuring fighting robots in the vein of Super Robot Wars, but because tactical RPGs have very little to discuss in terms of turn-by-turn conversation. Over the course of the last 6 episodes of Front Mission, we've basically completely suspended the political quarantine. So, you got anything on your mind? You get off your chest, go for it. Or Driscoll. Oh man, I hope the robot people, or the computer chip people aren't getting killed by this. It will be very sad. Where do we possibly have left to go after this? I hope you feel better. Enjoy your bed chilling. That's kind of been Andrea's situation for the past few weeks. Alright. We are aiding terrorists. They kicked me out of the military. I lost my 3 top soldiers. Maybe they'll come around eventually. We gotta go kill Ryuji's dad and his company, which is turning brains into fighting robots. Any of you guys ever watch Exo Squad back in the day? Growing up? Forget what channel it was on. It was a mech show. It was only like a couple seasons. Oh no, there's a great Men in Black line, Game Saucer, where K is like, people are dumb, impulsive animals. Someone can find the actual quote. Tommy Lee Jones. Cool, what LARP are you doing? That's it. A person is smart, people are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. That's a good movie. That scene in Rick and Morty. Talking about remembering Men in Black 2. Joyless cash grab. I had to get fun movies like Men in Black again. I guess maybe we're getting them sometimes. What year did that movie come out? I still see it as a pre-irony, somewhat sincere film. '97, nice. Yeah, the whole people thought the world was flat thing is pretty frustrating. But I still agree with the spirit of the line. You know, Aristophanes came up with a pretty good estimate of the circumference of the Earth, like before the birth of Christ. That cool thing with the wells and the sunlight hitting it. Fantasy light, multi-genre. Cool. Oh man, Kaimom, you gotta go outside. You gotta go play Pokemon Go! Dragons spawn more often in windy weather. I've been waiting for Dude, I've been playing so much fucking Pokemon Go lately. It's actually a game now. I really like it. There was a long time there where it was not a game. It was kind of just a toy. Seriously, if you played it before and you quit, pick it up, send me your friend code. Me and Islua, we've been exchanging gifts every day. We recently became good friends as judged by Pokemon Go because, you know, only Pokemon Go can say how good of friends you are with people. Oh, you've been walking your dog? Play it! You gotta play it! It's good now! It's got friends. Give it a shot. Give it a try. I actually really like it now. If they had only released the game in its current state 2 years ago, I think it would still be as popular. I mean, there's still a lot of people that play it. We did the Moltres Day raid this past weekend, and there were like, 60 people in Los Alamos that showed up for it. Oh, I'm so sorry, Kaimom. Do it, Knight. Do it. Download it. Re-download it. You gotta go catch them all. That's what the song says. It doesn't say if you feel like it, maybe you can catch them all, or man, you really gotta catch a couple. It's a moral imperative. Okay, so they want to use their B device prototype, which is a robot, a mecha robot that is made of brains. Lloyd isn't responsible for the war after all, right? Because the ceasefire ended. Still don't have my best party members. I don't know if I'm ever going to get them back. She in your robot? She is in his robot! Called it. It's pretty dark. The core story of this game is really good. All my crappy party members here. like that I got Gens for free. I probably should have changed his gear in between missions. Because if I die, I can go do that. See how it goes. Did you end up getting it, Aki? Found out about that glitch. Does it work with any trainer? I thought maybe it was only the one specific one. Did that get in the way of this name? Yeah, I agree, Game Saucer. What's the quote from Winston Churchill? Something like, democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the other ones. That's what the US system is, though. It's a republic, not a democracy. Even then, you run into a lot of problems of, like, how do you choose who the representative should be? My pet favorite form of government that will never happen is demarchy. It has a lot of problems, just like any proposed form of government, but it's governance by randomly selected citizens, comparable to like a jury pool. Sounds really bad because juries are bad, but the idea would be that you would you'd have some bounded entropy there. You would say that there has to be this proportion of scientists represented in the government, and this proportion of musicians, and this proportion of artists, this proportion of tradesfolk. Oh, thanks, Sixgun. As long as a trainer walks, it'll work to activate the glitch. Oh, you just need to have your previous encounter with a Pokemon with a specific special stat. And the famous one on the bridge just happens to be near a Pokemon that has that stat that you need. That's so weird. Those really late discovery game glitches are crazy. Oh, sorry. So the way demarchy wraps up is that government by randomly selected individuals with heavily restricted terms, such that, you know, you only serve in government for like 2 years, and that's it for your life. You never serve again after that. Which that brings about a host of problems where it's like, okay, well now you don't have anyone who's an expert in running the government. So do you have like caretakers, stewards that train people after they're selected? Kind of like you have a judge whose role it is to fix the jury when they're bugged. Nice. Being an adult is awesome. Come on. If I had the power to, like, run simulations on humanity, I'd love to try demarchy. I don't think it's worth all the suffering that would go into trying to make it actually work. But it's a neat idea. Neat concept for, like, a, if you were writing a tabletop setting or something, writing a book, making a world. I try to just sit and think out, what are the problems they come up with, and how would they try to solve it? You demarchy elves, whoever the hell. Driscoll ran away, so I try to kill all the ads first. There's some post on Reddit Yukupo recently that was something to the effect of like, being an adult is having the we have food at home conversation, but with yourself. Yeah. It's certainly something that you can only try with the aid of a computer. I wish this game had AoE. This next turn's not going to be great. I should, if I attempt this level again, I should back everybody up at the start. I don't know if anybody else has a pet favorite, like, fictional form of government. The electronic perfect democracy that the Asari have in Mass Effect is kind of cool. Where, like, everybody participates in government and everyone directly votes on all issues and debates things on, like, internet forums, essentially. Demarchy run into one of the major problems of the USSR's post-WT military, which was a perennial problem that had no NCOs, it was all conscripts, took a year and a half to train a new recruit. The last 3 months of anyone's stint, they were an expert goldbrick and were useless. Yeah, that's where I also wonder, like, if I were writing a fantasy setting and, like, my orcs had a Demarchy, how would I make up a way that they solve that problem? Getting drunk at home by yourself in your underwear. Do you have a word that means that? Oh man. Can you send that to me as a Discord DM, Kaimam? I gotta share that with Andrea. It'll make her very happy. It's because nothing works best. Politics suck. Herding cats is hard. Constitutional parliamentary oligarchic republic. Can you describe it, Dave Saucer? Surely some things work better than others. Guess. Oh, I have no idea, sir. I'll have to double check the mission number. This seems like it's kind of approaching the end, given that we found Lloyd's main drive for the whole game is finding out what happened to his girlfriend Karen. It turns out that she is now a brain mush robot CPU thing. I don't think this is the final encounter, though. We've also been kicked out of our military, aiding and abetting terrorists. Frank Herbert's Boost Up series. So I think we can say that some things work better than others, but we still have to accept that in working better than other things in aggregate, there's still some sacrifices we make. Like, democracy can never work as quickly as a king that pronounces judgment all in one sitting, right? Monarchy has lots of problems that are not worth having a monarchy for, but you can't say that it's slow. Like most government decisions are systems of trade-offs, and there's, I would say, very few choices you can make in picking a government system that have no downsides whatsoever. Bureau of Sabotage. That was prevent government from acting too efficiently. That's cool. Right. But even that has its own drawbacks, like, you know, we would like very much for the bad shit that's going on in 2018 to be over with already, but it's because of our slow government that we're 2 years into it and it's not over with yet. So it, like, simultaneously limits the amount of damage that can be done while greatly slowing the rate at which we can fix an obvious problem. It's weird. Like, On a scale of Tolkien to Philip K. Dick, closer to Philip K. Dick? I'll go for it, sir. That is the Dream of Front mission. Where people get turned into brain slurry and become the computers to power walking robots. And the political quarantine is basically entirely rescinded. Kill 6 billion demons. I've heard about that. You guys talked about it in Discord, and it's come up in Reddit a couple times. Much closer. Okay. Speaking of Philip K. Dick, Andrew and I finally watched Blade Runner 2049. We should have seen it in theaters, and I deeply regret not having done that. But it's on HBO Go if you have that for like Westworld and Game of Thrones and you missed it. Really good, you should watch it. That's all I'll say about it. I think it's better than Blade Runner. It's one of those, like, Dennis... I don't know how to pronounce... I'm probably mispronouncing his first name. The director, I think, understands Blade Runner better than Ridley Scott understood Blade Runner. Or maybe even Philip K. Dick understood Do Androids Dream. Something about a character that's basically the biblical Solomon. Oh, I want to see that, sir. I'll check it out in Discord afterward. Yeah, we were in a similar situation, Yukipo. That's why we didn't see it in theaters. Like, I think the things that are wrong with Blade Runner 2049 are things that are also wrong with the original Blade Runner, and it's questionable whether they're actually objectively wrong or it's just like a stylistic decision. Like, the original Blade Runner is really long and really slow and kind of boring. And so is Blade Runner 2049, but once you've committed to that, right? It's kind of like how Snake Eater does Metal Gear Solid better than any of the other Metal Gear Solid games up to that point. And not enough movies do. I was actually really surprised that I went into Blade Runner 2049 assuming, like, okay, the first movie's way too fucking slow. They can't make that movie in 2018. It's gonna be like a ridiculous, over-the-top cyberpunk action fest, and I'm just gonna have to enjoy it for being fun. It's not gonna be this, like, heady, philosophical, slow detective noir drama, but it's totally that. It's really good. And it's got beautiful cinematography. Some of the best shots and, like, lighting I've seen in a movie. Some really good special effects. And not enough movies are slow, I would argue. It's a symptom of, like, low attention spans, I guess. Both of his arms are busted. That is a problem. Certainly the most dangerous mission I've been in, since I have so few of my powerful characters. Everyone is elected by the people as a check. Oh, let me read the beginning part. Sorry, Game Saucer. Target entity, which is an alternate legislative branch. A constitutional entity might, in another situation, have full power, so that's constitutional longevity. There's also a legislative parliament that's elected by the people. Both legislative agencies need to vote on any proposal, and proposals can be put forth by either. Okay. It can appoint its own successors, so it's bicameral? It's kind of like having a House and Senate. with different rules. Government is elected by the people as a check and part of the government provide consistent direction. So isn't that essentially the House of Commons and the House of Lords as they were originally designed? Or like the House of Lords are people that were born into power and the House of Commons are elected representatives? I don't know as much about British government. That was my understanding of how that originally works. Yeah, the Fly episode is great. I totally agree, Yukubo. It's one of my favorite episodes of that show. It's all just slow character development, right? Nothing actually moves the plot forward. Oh, that cannot be a legitimate complaint of Blade Runner 2049. Everything that happens in that movie is in service of moving the plot forward in a very clear, well-conveyed way. Like, when I watched the original Blade Runner, I can't really tell you what the fuck is going on. Harrison Ford is looking for Roy Batty. Game over, man. Game over. There's a very cool noir A, B, C, D clue following structure of 2049 that I really appreciated. Be born in the power. So, I thought the Senate for a while worked that it wasn't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the U.S., wasn't the Senate originally like the state legislators appointed senators? It was supposed to be another check. Were U.S. senators always directly voted for by the people? Super sensitive issue we're dancing on now. Fictional governments and Blade Runner 2049. And Article 5. Yeah, I'd like to have a reboot. I think there's a lot of problems that need some kind of fundamental consideration. There's a lot of bugs in the American system that are like, hey, this doesn't work because it has this built-in assumption. Maybe we should actually like build the assumption into the rules. Like, there will be no one in government who is an overt bad actor. Is not willing to comply with other rules as a matter of common decency. 22nd Amendment is the election of senators. 17. So further in the past, but I think that might be an iterative problem, Yukupo. The Senate appears to be redundant because of the way that we've changed how people get elected into it. But when it first started, it kind of made sense. Oh, nice, Chaos. Wait, so what'd you mod it to do? Can you play any ROM on it now? Is that possible? I guess the problem with the Senate right now is it affords significantly greater power to rural, low-population states, right? Which I guess could be argued as a check. Depends. Hi, Ben. Are you so furry? I think I'm gonna have to start this battle over. I'm kind of getting my ass kicked. I lost my 3 characters that can reliably target enemies. You can put any, but I just had it like 60. Dude, that sounds awesome. I kind of want to get one then. I mean, I've got a Raspberry Pi, but Retro Pi kind of feels gross. Surprise tabletop. Is there a reason why you couldn't have a shitload of congressmen? Like just like a logistical problem? I mean, suppose we increase the number of representatives by a factor of 10. Like, what would be the challenges in making that happen, I wonder? Software does most of the work. Safe and stable. Pretty tough to break it unless you're trying. That's really cool. Logistics. What other things have a chance to speak? Could you do that? So I feel like we've already kind of solved this with staffers and like court clerks. It's like, you know, a representative is not one person. A representative is a giant team of staffers that are actually informed about all sorts of different issues. Like when Andrea goes to lobby for science, she almost never actually talks to the person. She talks to their underling who is assigned to know about physics or whatever her topic is. Add other emulators to it. Ooh, really? Huh. So at that point, what's the difference between doing that and just setting up a RetroPie chaos? Do you know? Like, what is the SNES Classic uniquely equipped to do better than a RetroPie? Right. Less input lag than a RetroPie. Cool. Oh wow, that's significant. It's the quality of the hardware, I guess. How much max space can you fit on there? I wonder if there's a way to have a state have less than one representative in a way that was fair. Just in terms of like counting votes. Happy working. 256 megs is plenty for Super Nintendo games. That body shot, the more of these guys I kill, the easier this is going to be. Oh, I was lucky. Thought I still had guide. Oh, that was Molly. Good job, Molly. I give you so much crap for being garbage, but prove me wrong. Couple advanced games, yeah. I mean, the Game Boy Advance is basically just a portable Super Nintendo anyway, right? Let's be real here. restocking. You could probably fit every NES game ever on the NES Classic. Can you hack that one too? GBA was a super solid machine. Tricard. I'm not gonna get a lot of damage in. Please don't kill my truck. Thank you. I'm gonna hack anything. Ooh, thanks. I wonder if I ever stocked the truck. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure. Please don't miss. Good job. Really needed you to not miss there. I'm proud of you. No item. It's very bad. Let's move him as far away as I possibly can. Mayhaw's still alive. Sending her in for the punch here. He's just picking up Cleaver. Da-da-da. Can add folders. Oh, cool. Yeah, if it feels... For some reason, something about the feel of a RetroPie is gross. I don't know. Just maybe the setup that people have agreed to put together for it feels unofficial in a way. It's hard to describe. I'm weird about that sort of thing. I mean, it is literally unofficial. It's a hacked box with a bunch of emulators on it, but I want to try to pretend like that's not the case. How will toddlers add better organization? It's a good question. We went over to Cat and Donovan's place for tacos last night, and they just all restock. Ooh, that is not good. I didn't realize there were still 3 of these assholes still alive. If I kill the thing, does that stop them from restocking? Probably not. Try to retreat as far as I can. Cammy's still doing her thing. She wants tacos. She doesn't say I want, she wants. She wants juice. Well, tower, no one uses hook and paper emulation, right? Character's just gonna die, Ryuji. All this shit's busted. Oh yeah, we're super dead. Alright, so I'm probably gonna have to attempt this mission again. The problem is my 3 best soldiers all left the party because they didn't agree with the main character becoming a terrorist. They all had guide level, like all 3 of them had guide level 3. Which is the thing that lets me choose which body part I want to target. And when it's guide level 3, it does so without any accuracy penalty. Not knowing... I wasn't sure if she was saying she wants juice because she's like heard us interpret her requests and needs as wanting juice. Then what are you doing? He was chasing a bug earlier. Every time he does that, I worry that he's gonna like attack a poisonous spider or something. Venomous spider, excuse me. But stock Paris P. Probably upgrade him to the previous edition of this guy. Oh, I can only do weapons. I see. I do have an extra crane. Let's see. Crane's really heavy. So he has just that and nothing else. It's not the end of the world. He's been possessed, and the demon is communicating her needs. Okay. Yeah, that gets me in trouble a little bit. I look at it as like little kids don't know what words mean yet. And if they say, like, one of my favorite stories to tell about Jaden when he was 4 years old, a really cute kid, really talkative. One day, he went to go upstairs after me and Kat and Donovan were staying up playing Rock Band because it was time for him to go to bed. And he got to the foot of the stairs and big, wide smile, he goes, "See you later, fuckers!" That shit has stuck with me my whole life. It's one of my favorite Jaden stories. But, like, I just tell it and I laugh. Like, there's nothing bad about it, you know? Later, he learned that that was a bad... Well, I think he knew it was a bad word because he was, like, 4. Because he went... And he ran up the stairs to hide because he thought he was in trouble. And we all had to, like, hold back our laughter as best as we could. I just love the sunshine. See you later, fuckers. The truck attacking me? How dare you? First of all, how dare you? Second of all, what gives you the right? So now you have only the crane. Can you do anything with it? Hey, lovely. How was your day? You're all dressed up for the Brits.
Yep. This is Andrea.
This is my wife, Andrea. Hello, everyone knows you. We're playing a game that doesn't really get a lot of walk-ins, so the political quarantine is completely suspended at the moment.
What's a political quarantine? Oh, I can talk about politics?
Oh, no.
Is that what you mean?
Oh, dear. What have I done? Science. Kind of. Just be careful.
No, it's fine.
And that was the moment Marstead realized you fucked up. How was your day?
It was good. So I wanted to put forth this question to chat. Now, the backstory to the question is I'm attending more and more classified meetings where I'm not allowed to bring in a cell phone. And yet people are like...
I shared this story earlier, but go ahead.
Oh.
Tell
and yet people are like, oh, come back at 3:15. And you know what? I don't know what the fuck 3:15 is because no one puts clocks for some reason in classified areas.
Okay.
Because they're lazy? I don't know. I mean, it's a fucking clock. They buy... Anyway. So I'm gonna buy myself a watch. And... Dylan wants me to buy an ugly watch.
I did not say
That's
ugly
cheap.
watch. I said
all the watches you
watch.
found that you think are reasonable price are ugly or trashy.
Trashy?
Anyway, I want to find
Trashy?
a nice watch that I can wear almost every day so that I know what time it is when I don't have my cell phone. And he doesn't seem to think that I should consider anything beyond functionality. And that if I pay anything more more than $20 for this watch, I am just insane. Especially if I pay over $100 for a watch. I am fucking crazy. He can't believe he ever married me.
Oh, I didn't say that. Jesus Christ.
So anyway, so the question is, do you agree that it's worthwhile to have a watch that has characteristics beyond functionality?
And surprise, there's a correct answer to this question. Basically, everyone was on your side earlier.
Okay, very good. He basically said that watches are not a fashion accessory and don't need to be nice.
Probably don't.
He said they just need to be able to tell the time, and that's it.
I still kind of believe that. Hey, Sortus! Through the internet.
So, and I already know we've had this discussion, but someone brought up, hey, you buy a special Mass Effect hoodie instead of a crappy hoodie at Walmart that costs half as much. But then he's like, oh, it only costs half as much, not 10 times as much like what you want to do.
Twice as much. Yeah. There's a scale problem. You see, Leon, chat pretty much agreed that I was wrong.
Yeah, very good.
Very good. I might make it out of this battle after all.
What if I also told you guys, right? Remember I won that, say your science in 3 minutes thing?
She has enough money as a prize in order to be able to buy it.
I got a cash prize for that.
Yeah.
That was more than $500.
You should be able to use that money for whatever you like.
Yeah, so I was gonna use some of that money to buy myself a nice watch. And we're talking less than $200. You know, I'm not gonna spend all my money on that. I'm also gonna buy shoes.
I mean, given that you won that for doing a science thing, for doing your science in 3 minutes thing, you're gonna spend it on something you're gonna use in your science career. That seems very reasonable. I think Andrea is saying that $115 is a reasonable price for a watch, which I disagree with. But Six Gun, for example, was like, no, that seems like that's cheap for a nice watch. That's what you want to hear, right?
What?
Six Gun said that $100 some is cheap for a nice watch.
Ah. Yeah, no, men's watches can get insane. Actually, and I don't know where the link is, but one of his friends posted a link to a watch that cost almost $1 million, but it was on sale for $665,000.
No, they didn't go with $666,000. Yes, Sornus, I'm in the same boat. I am anti-fashionable, so I wear graphic tees. I don't roll the cat hair off my shirt. Been wearing the same pair of Amazon jeans that I reorder every 6 months for the last 5 years. But it's just not something that I prioritize. And Andrea does prioritize looking nice. So I'm sure that watch will look very nice. And I will try not to laugh at you when it breaks. Because it will break. And before you want it to. Because it's too fancy. It's just too fancy.
What's too fancy?
The watch that you want to get.
It's not that fancy, it just looks cool.
$665, $99.99.
Can you guys hear the kitties?
God.
They're being especially pathetic.
They're flanking me and Andrea right now.
They are.
They got extra mad when Andrea got home because usually that means they've already been fed lately. Because I got up to pick up, can you use the cat cam for a bit?
I don't know where Marty went. Now Ben's going to the other side. Oh, there's Marty. Ben's switching sides again.
He's trying to take down the monitor every time he looks.
It's not Marty, that's Ben.
Hi.
No, Cammy, that's Ben.
Hi.
There he is.
Close enough.
Oh, at the end, she's like, cat.
That's basically right. Meow.
Oh no, Marty's knocking over
The light.
the light umbrella. I don't know if y'all can see that. Do it again, Marty.
He's not gonna do it again.
Son
That was
of
a
a
lucky
bitch.
shot. Ben just knocked the monitor over. They opened the pantry again today. Now that there's
Did
two
they
locks on
really?
it. There are 2 locks on it, and Marty just wanted it bad enough. God, Driscoll sucks. This is so strong.
Alright, there's Ben. Again. See how he's rubbing his face on the camera? That's what he does to the monitors. That's what he does to our phones in the morning. When we're not feeding him and we're Redditing instead. Oh,
He like knocks it out of
there
my
goes
hand
Marty
every
again.
time. Let me quick save real quick because Driscoll, it's like a truck.
yeah, you see the umbrella move right there? That's Marty trying to knock it over.
Perfect word for this. Friends or spouse being snarky and giving shit to you on purpose with the intention of not being remotely fair within the bounds of reason. See? Finnish is a great language. So, I mean, what was the other word from earlier, Kaimam, about drinking alone by yourself in your underwear on the weekend? So, make Andrew very happy. I can put you off, Kitty. You can patrol if you want in a second. Like that. How come whenever the camera's on you, you don't push the monitor, Ben? Why are you like this? Hey, Chris hears the meowing. Aw. Don't do that. No. Absolutely not. Jesus. Remember, I don't want to have physical form. I'm not comfortable with the size on the webcam right now. Ugh. Oh, that was a real betrayal of trust there, Andrea. Is that a cunt? I can't pronounce it. That means drinking, staying home, and just drinking in your underwear all weekend.
Nice. I'm glad there's a word for that.
Yeah, I know, right? Bye, Meihua. She got to go. Holy shit, she got to go first, and she punched him to death.
Nice.
Damn. She got the 1000 XP. She totally doesn't need it. I think we're gonna be okay. We were cutting it real close in this level. Let's see. Do I want to? Well, I did just save, so I can be a little more aggressive. I appreciate it.
Alright, I'm gonna go look at more watches.
Okay. Good luck.
'Cause
You
the
didn't
one
buy
that I
that
liked-
watch yet?
No, I decided that there's something about it that it's just gonna bug me because it has like on the face instead
Oh
of
my
numbers,
God.
it has like little crystals,
All of that
and
shit.
I don't like that.
All of that shit.
So I'm gonna go
All
see what I
day
can find.
yesterday.
Yeah,
Our entire taco trip was all about this goddamn watch.
yeah, but I
And
mean,
you're
I
not
don't think
gonna
I
get
can get
it.
over the crystals. I think they're kind of tacky.
Okay, go find a watch that you like. Love you. Bye. Sure.
I'm gonna wear this almost every day.
Okay. That's fine.
I better like it.
Okay. You do you. Try to get a cheapish one. I know, right? Jesus. Less than $100 watches are trashy. Greater than $100 ones are tacky. Yeah, you're figuring it out. You're seeing the Matrix now, Game Saucer. Trick is to find one that is exactly $100. Oh, absolutely. I mean, but that's the problem. That's exactly where I'm coming from. Like, My cereal box watch that was free lasted me 10 years and it worked perfectly. I never had to change the battery. Strap never broke. Everything was Gucci. But I guess your point is, it will last her so long that even if she spends $200 on it, if she uses it for 5 years... This game's OST is 10 minutes long. You and your friends were assembled to serve as materials just like Karen. Whoa, my whole squad was supposed to become brain slurry computer chips? I think we actually killed Driscoll there, wow. Can you connect Karen's B device to my Wanzer? I feel like that means something different than what he meant literally. Oh good, the brain chips are still USB. Karen device sent to stock. Check what that is. Toilet with a fur cover is trashy, but a toilet with gold leafing is tacky. I like the new world map music. Clearly in the endgame world map music. Alright, let's definitely save because we were at a huge disadvantage in that mission. Missing most of our characters. Also figure out what the Karen device is. Is it a CPU, probably? Oh shit. Is this really ethical, though? Equipping the Karen CPU? This, like, you know, should we use the collector base or not? Whatever. We should totally use it. Now his robot is his girlfriend. Yeah, it's working out. It required that I play the game for several weeks after it won the vote in order to kind of get into a autopilot groove. Other than shopping, I'm still not quite able to autopilot shopping, unfortunately. This chair out of the way. Yeah, I'll fix that. Oh, Ben, did you move the green screen? How dare you? And what gives you the right? Okay. Ooh, hey, Lloyd got guide level 3. Victory. Frederick still doesn't have it. Paul has it now. Hans has it. And Bobby has level 2. Level 3 means that I can choose the body part and there's no accuracy penalty for doing so. It's very good. Big part of the bummer, most of my hour of off-stream grinding this game was spent leveling up a character that left the party today. Worked working with the PMO, don't tell anyone. It's a secret to everybody. This is like the final arms dealer? I think so. Let's see what's new. Thank you. Alright, so new stuff costs more than 980. Weapons. More than 1600 in shoulders. They're so hungry. Marty has gotten really pathetic with it. He just starts meowing and he doesn't stop. Okay. I think I can figure it out. Alright, let's go. Looks like there's new everything. So, this is the end game. We should get parts first. We want something that has comparable all the other stats. Yeah, okay. okay. Looks kind of silly, but... Here, 36 HP, 4 defense, 48 HP, 2 defense. There's no weight. Looks less stupid.
Thank you.
Type 150. Again, main focus with arms is maxing out our accuracy, which it looks like we can actually do. It's very nice. Okay. So Numsakar is plus 4 accuracy, plus 76 HP, plus 28 defense. Man, I've been taking a hit HP and defense for trying to maximize my accuracy. 10 weight. 1034. Wow, no, that's just the best. There's just no question.
Thank you.
It's just better.
Thank you.
How about legs? We want the move to stay the same or get better. Plus 45 weight, Jesus. Bias is what he already has, okay. So I could do that later if I end up having extra weight room. Okay, so we currently have the Karen one on him. So I should try finding the CPU on somebody else. Swallow.
Thank you.
You put a space between the exclamation point and the game. Oh, wait. It was a joke. I see. Okay, hold on. CPU... Not everyone can have your liquefied girlfriend as your computer, so... Given how sad that makes all of us... Really touch... Gauge...
Thank you.
So I did all the parts. Let's do weapons now. Current short weapon is the Black Star. 4 times 19. A hit of 74. 220. 74. No, weighs less. 4 times 21. I think it's going to be the Leo stun. Beta.
Thank you.
Thunderbolt is the one that... Oh, we're gonna lose our giant dick cannon. That's too bad. Right. 1 times 74 long. 1 times 82. Hits better, range is better, weighs a little bit more. It's okay. Given the difference, I think we want it.
Thank you.
I'm gonna use shields by any chance. WS-14B is as good as it gets. It's as good as it gets. Excuse me. Albatross. I've seen that Monty Python skit. Guy that's selling albatross as like a stand food at a baseball game, cricket game. Alright. Current gun is called the Crane, and that's 3 times 32. Black Panther looks like it's just strictly better. The Albatross is even better. Albatross.
Thank you.
Alright. Final Robot looks kind of cool, too. What flavor is it? What do you mean, what flavor is it? I think it was, usually it was, John Cleese that was doing it, right? Oh, I love Monty Python with all of my heart. Okay, so the items we bought were... I forgot to write them down, but... Leo Stun B. Oh, what did I just do? That wasn't on purpose. 9 Leo stun bees. Now let me just go back and check. Sorry. Alright, let's see. Type 150, body, Numsakar, arm, Numsakar, arm, CPU, S. Oh no, that's the Karen one. What's the one we actually want? CPU is Gange, backpack is Bison, left is Leo stun, B, right is BOA 40, left shoulder doesn't change, right shoulder is Albatross. Is it not pronounced at all like that? I always thought that's funny about Cyrillic. Looks like something in English and it's not pronounced anything at all like that. Okay, here we go. It's pronounced Tiran. 9 Leo stuns, 9 BOAs. I should double check melee too. Crusader Rod is melee. It's probably the only one I get. Let's say thank you. Looks like it is taking my money though, so I think I'm doing it right. I accidentally bought double of those, but that's fine. 11. Maybe this guy is less friendly than all the other ones we run into. Type 150. On noon. Anfwin. You do have to buy the arms separately, which I guess does make sense. You can't buy 2 left socks. Expect them to work on your mech out of the box. This feels very much like we're approaching the final mission of the game. We have like this final store. That's what looks like a final store. Didn't get any new legs. CPU was Gange. Backpack was Swallow. I'll make sure that I'm topped off on repair kits too. No, it did not. It'd be funny if it did. Incoming Windsors. You gotta be fucking kidding me. I get one chance to shop? Okay. Phew. I was about to say, they required me to shop in there and then set up my stuff. That would be really messed up. Good. Alright, once again, setting this up, I kind of have to focus so I don't make a mistake. So, talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back in a little bit after I finish equipping this stuff. Set up a fund to buy the Welshmore vowels. Get a bunch of celebrities to like record a track and sing about how they need vowels. Wait. Oh right, we didn't get things. This definitely feels like the final shop of the game. I'm not sure if I get a chance to do an arena again, which is a bummer, because that's my one way to grind. Hopefully that doesn't end up becoming a problem. I guess we'll find out. Leo's done the BOA 40. Still puzzled as to how it orders these. WS 14B. Good night, Aki. Thanks for hanging out. Good seeing you. It's like a dude who's really surprised. How do you pronounce an O with an umlaut over it? Is it? It's not O. It's not ah. It's not O. Depends on the language. Yeah. So complicated then. Gotcha. It's an in German. Berry, worry, berry. Pronounce berry and worry differently. Is it between those two, maybe? Oh shit, we don't actually want that. Crusader rod. Dual wielding Crusader rods. Not like through. Hard to describe. Fair enough. Yeah, I pronounce berry identically to berry. Yeah. I say berry. Like berries on a tree. Curry and worry rhyme for me. Okay. Gotcha. That helps. So how is it different from a short U sound? Maybe it's not consistently pronounced. The regional one that I do from the Midwest is, I forget what it's called. Someone could probably look it up. I don't aspirate my T's. So better and better. I say this. I don't say better. I say better. Wetter is wetter. I just got really confused. Type 150. Here we go. Oh, you know, I might actually have the necessary weight to buy those feet parts. Let me go back really fast. Short U is favorite. U in Japanese. Very short U. Oh, short U in at least American English is Like butt is a short U. That's different from worry, I guess. That would be worry. Cute. Oh shit, I forget which one it was. Move 20. What's this one? Curry and cute. Cute. Okay. Yeah, it is really hard. I probably have to like pop on Wikipedia and click on the little thing that plays it back for you. Not Tinpa. We're getting there. That setup looks pretty cool. Thanks, sir. You all get to hear it on stream. Didn't know this was a thing.
Umlaut O is like Ö. Ö. Umlaut U is pronounced like Ü. Ü.
Thanks, Serp. That's helpful. I'm not going to try to reproduce it. I'll have that saved. What's that on items? You people, right? What is it with you guys having consistent rules? Just be like English, and nothing ever makes sense ever. There are no rules. The points don't matter. Alright, I'm still working on this. So it was Leo Stun B. BOA, Albatross, Type 150, Numsakar, not Tinpa, Gange. Fortunately, we can't all equip our dead brain slurry girlfriend as our CPU. I feel like we could use the rage to resurrect it if we really cared enough. Leo Stun B. BOA 40. That was a yawn meow you just heard from Ben a second ago. Very cute. Bow and cough don't rhyme because fuck you. That came up in, we went to the Make a Strip panel at PAX. Mike and Jerry were talking about it. What word? Oh, he got caught pronouncing rappel as rapple. Well, rapple down the side. And Mike was making fun of Jerry for it. He was like, what? I primarily interface with English in the written form. So I knew what it meant. Trough. Don't rhyme either because your face is stupid. Yeah, but bow and cow don't. Because bow is another way to pronounce B-O-W. Yeah, bow and bow don't rhyme. Exactly. Oh no! Almost there. We're getting there. It's happening. Getting these cool new robot parts. Living the dream over here. Nipple all over them because Nepal is so last season. I really am grateful that English was my mother tongue, because it sounds like it's like really hard to learn as a second language. I commend all of you. I mean, it doesn't feel as bad when, from the get-go, it's like, nothing matters. There are no rules. Don't even try. But I couldn't imagine coming from a language that actually is consistent and makes some kind of sense, and then having someone tell you, this is how English works. What? Why? There's no reason for any of that. Yeah, just deal with it. Sucks to be you. I'm gonna go back to my own language. Blackjack and hookers. Still can't change. I don't know what's up with this character. He must be missing something. Let's repeat what try to put this up. Negaduck. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I remember Negaduck. I haven't watched Darkwing Duck in a long time. When there's trouble, you call the double. Let's get dangerous. City of Sexmo in the Philippines. Had to change the spelling when they realized how the English will pronounce that. Sus one. You're spelling on the side of that T. Hey, the British have a problem with spelling their shit right too. It's not just America. The reasonable people, it's their fault. They gave it to us. Right, full set first. Gotta go buy a shield, I think, after this. And one other thing, and then we should be good to go to the final level. Buy 2 shields. 2 characters are missing out on them right now. Pair. Colonel, yeah. That's my favorite Homestar Runner bits. Colonel Homestar 1 on his Homestar me. Are you ready to pay your $5 to me and serve your country? What's the fucking shit? He's talking about Strong Bad and the cheat. He's like, are you tired of playing second fiddle to a 2-bit Wessel man and his yellow dog? Oh man, I gotta go back and... Oh, maybe I can watch Homestar with Cameron. Oh, that'd be great. Alright, I got a plan. 2-bit Wessel man and his yellow dog. I think that was the only thing I needed to buy, right? Teen Girl Squad, cheerleader, so-and-so, what's her face? The ugly one! I'm looking for someone that doesn't have WS-14, that's it. Lich is a pretty sweet name. Gens is definitely the coolest looking character. Yoshitaka Amano art. Always pronounced lieutenant as lieutenant, but I guess lieutenant is also a valid pronunciation. Sky Mom. Boatswain. Oof. 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 Bosun. Oh man, we're gonna fight Olsen? That's cool. He's been our boss for the whole game. Oh man, are my old units, do they have my stats? And JJ and Keith. Maybe they'll turn and rejoin us. Shit. It's a pretty cool fight. We haven't really had cool story fights. This, like, the last act of this game has been really awesome. Ever since they had the reveal about the brain slurry CPUs, I've been super on board. Lieutenant's a British pronunciation. That was very chalant. So my efforts to appear gruntled and consulate. Not comply. Are they rejoining us? Hey! Worry that she has all new gear. I'm done listening to your orders, sir. Well, shit, she just got wrecked for doing that. Way to go, Natalie. This looks like it's gonna be a tough fight. They do have my old gear, it looks like. That's good. And Natalie almost got wrecked immediately. I wonder if she's scripted to get her ass beat that bad. Seen Kemp's use before. My parents used to make a fancy version of Sloppy Joes they called Unkempt Josephs. That was fun. We have Hell, Michigan out here. We don't have anything like fucking Austria. Is it actually pronounced that way? Oh, I missed that up above, sorry. I do like whelming. I have used jokingly, like, oh yeah, I was pretty whelmed by that. I wonder if that's entered into the dictionary. I know especially the Webster's people are super nerdy about that kind of thing. I feel like they would add the word whelmed just from goofy usage. Okay. It's a perfectly cromulent word. Definitely appears to be a bottleneck over here. Finland thrives on rude place names. Fuck Pond, Tit Islands, Fort, Ball Wax, Evil Purge Field. Granny's Arse, Big Dick, Warfield, Hell, Moldy Ass Swamp, Pussy Peninsula. Really? Now, are those mostly like euphemisms that people understand what it means when they're adults, or do you have to explain that to kids right off the bat? Albatross. read somewhere that these names came about while this fucking foreign photographer trying to map out the area. Oh, they're everyday words when used separately. I see. Yes, Ben, I know you're very hungry. You've never eaten before. You've only heard the legends. I'll be able to make it back to that shop and buy more gear for my good party members who just rejoined me, thankfully. Get that body shot, land it, land it, land it. Oh, you don't have the ability to target, shit. Probably give them a different color scheme so I can know that. Man, I cannot land that final hit on this guy. I'm trying to avoid using my missiles for it if I can. These areas with all the foliage are really tricky. Even though I have a really high move speed for all these characters, there's just too much crap on the ground for me to get past. Well, that character's fleeing now, which is great. If I can attack over that mountain range. Truck as far away as possible here. If I can like filter those dudes into that little hot gates area there, that would be really swell. Can't attack over this. Old German term for ash tree, which sounds a lot like or Schaffenberg ash castle. Assume people just call it that then. I like that over-the-top explosion animation. Can only try to conserve missile for so long, eventually I'm gonna have to give in. Come on, Hans. There you go. Good job, buddy. Body shot, let's do it. Come on. It has to be castle. Do you? You thought about that? I'm sure it would be a interesting castle. Did I not change his body part? He looks different. Maybe it's just the way he's facing. Just the way he's facing. Actually a fort. It's only a model. Shh. Remnants of centuries back, and summer folk in those remote areas were popular during the gold rush. Drew gold rush like literally for gold. It's another resource. Thanks for Hans. Good defense game, buddy. These mechs have cool, like, Turian shoulders. It's gold in that plan. Right. I try to regroup and restock everybody after this. Maybe I can avoid it. Now I've got all my good party members back. I don't have to be as aggressive with trying to stay full on missiles after every round like we were before. Also, I'm not allowed to attack over its terrain. I don't think I can. Lapland is a large area that falls into Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. Why is it so named? Is that like a historical name? We have a region that's in multiple countries. The player phase and hope for the best. Hi Ben, are you furry? Summoners laps. Oh, okay. The laps come from this place. I don't know. How do you know you're getting to the end of the Scandinavian Marathon? Finish your lap. When you pass the last lap, you're heading to the finish line. That's pretty good. I don't know why I keep fixing the monitor. Like, Ben pushes it so it's rotated 90 degrees, and I fix it, and he pushes it, and I fix it. I'm truly a modern Sisyphus. Okay. Meow. You guys have been complaining for hours. Cameron's learning from them. God damn it, Ben, stop it! He only ever does it if I'm not pointing the camera at him. I think he actually knows. I've tried to capture him pushing the monitor. Then he moves gingerly past it every single time. Yes, go for it, Kim Saucer. Thank you. We're at time here. Yeah. Save. We'll wrap up this battle next time. Ben. Good God. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining in for some front mission today. It was a real treat. It's fun talking about some of the stuff that we try to be careful not to talk about. Give me a sec, I'll let you know what's coming up next.